I'm hosting EGI. I think I'm hosting EGI2. Hello everybody. Welcome to EGI2. I have some breaking news. My name is Allan Resnick. I have breaking news. We officially have over 1,000 followers. Okay, so that is breaking news, and of course that means we finally have enough followers to give away the sexual candle holder that I make that Robbie doesn't like. So we're gonna give this away. This is, if you've been following us, we've been trying to give this damn thing away for a while. It has a lot of sexual energy. It's an art object of power, and we're gonna be giving this to one lucky subscriber to the EGI2 family, someone who subscribes to EGI2. So if you're in the chat and you're watching this right now, this is your lucky day, because this will go to one of you. So sound off in the chat and say, I want sexuality. In the chat. Actually, do it one letter at a time. Sexuality. Spell that out one letter at a time in the chat. And if you're a subscriber, I'm gonna look at the chat and I'm gonna say one of the names at random. No, I'm not giving preferential treatment. And oh shoot, a hype train has started. That's a big problem for me. So we're gonna hold off on the sexuality. We have breaking news. The hype train has started. We're gonna go live to Robbie and we'll come back to the sexual candle holder after the story.
Hey everybody, welcome to EGI2 Stream 9. Let's dive right into Robbie's stories. Tonight the story is, of course, revolves around a small town in rural not Germany, but in fact, what's the other one, Alan? Denmark.
Austria, Denmark.
So if something is rotten in the state of Denmark, and it's EGI2's Stream 9 story. Robbie's story starts now with the hype train. Thank you for the hype train. And it comes down to one thing, Alan, and I think you'll find this interesting, is that at the center of most towns there is a sort of a mayor or a governor. Sometimes it's just a sheriff.
So we've hit level 2 of the hype train, and we do have a special guest here, which maybe you want to introduce.
We can't. We don't have
introduce, but they can talk
because we do have to get through. So
we have 5 or 4 more minutes for Robbie to continue this story. This story will continue as long as the hype train continues. So that's how this works.
So the mayor of this town in Denmark, and the town, I think you'll enjoy the name of this town, which was Allenburg.
I do enjoy that. Thank you, Robbie.
Denmark.
Back to you.
It was a small town. It was a rural town. In the Kingdom of Denmark and the land of the Danes, and it was a tough time for the community because everyone in town was sick with plague, and that was it was the big one, the Black Death, the one that came from the rats and the roaches and the corpses and in some cases it was just weird little squiggly kind of not quite worms, not quite salamanders, but somewhere in between where they would just kind of squiggle out. They were pitch black, not even black. Something if there could be a color that was darker than black, as like almost a vacuum of color, sort of the space in between. The darkness in between.
No specularity. There was no specularity on this. It was just pure like nothingness. Okay, back to you, Robbie.
So people were waking up and they'd have these damn things in their mouth, and they would just have to spit them out. And if they were lucky enough, they would spit them out with alacrity and quickness, and they wouldn't get sick. But sometimes they did get sick, and then of course it would pass through.
Right.
But the mayor of Allenburg, the governor, mayor of Allenburg, whose name was Grimrock, the mayor of Allenburg, was always on the lookout, and he had created his town had been spared most of the terrifying aspects of the Black Death, which had of course, as we all are familiar with the story of the great plagues of the between 11th and 15th centuries. They, between anywhere between a fifth and a third of
Oh my
Europe,
God, Robbie!
What's that, Allan?
You have hit hype train level 3, I believe. This is what this means. If you're new to the EGI2, it means the story continues. So this story will go for as long as the hype train is going. And to our guests here, I also want you to understand that that's what's happening. I know it's quite confusing, but that is what's happening. So 4 or 5 more minutes to, oh my God.
Okay, so we're
Robbie, you already just hit the next level of hype train. So these are young people or old people who are watching the stream, who are giving money that they've earned to the stream to monetize the stream. I don't get paid, but Robbie gets paid, and he's going to tell the story for another 5 or 4 more minutes. Back to you, Robbie. I'm so interested in this.
Of course, this is of course the story of Grimrock, the mayor of Allenburg, Denmark, the king in the great kingdom of the Danes during the plague years. And so Mayor Grimrock had, of course, he had created this kind of a gag that people would wear when they would go to sleep to keep these kind of slithering little they're kind of like what's a pustule or kind of a polyp? They were kind of like polyps, but with tails and legs.
You said something about a gag?
Yeah, so they would put the gag. So Grimrock had created this gag situation where everyone in town was required to yes, exactly. So something that went deep down into the back of the throat, and closed off almost the entirety of the esophagus.
Robbie, I have breaking news. You've hit another level of hype train so quick. This is incredible. So this is a lot of capital. This is a lot of money that you are earning. You've monetized your clever mind in such an interesting way. And the story continues for another 5 or 4 more minutes. Back to you. I can't wait to find out about all the gagging.
But so what had happened was, and I think that most people will be familiar with something like this happening when you reuse the same type of device over and over and over, especially if it's something that involves something that you have to stick very far down your throat when you go to sleep. It needs to be cleaned properly.
It's a reusable gag. It's a reusable gag, but
thing.
It needs to be sanitized.
Yes, exactly. It was made up of old leather and
suck on the leather
like a long rock covered in old leather.
The rock goes in the mouth and the leather is the strap.
Correct, but nothing. No dirty stuff. Just good old fashioned. Just a plug to keep little oily, like squiggly salamanders, but with like multiple legs and like a big body from like jamming down your throat in the middle of the night.
Quite the image.
Quite the image, and of course, and so people in Allenburg would wake up with these things just lying because they would try so hard to get into the mouth, but of course they would just fall asleep, and then the only way that you could really get them off your face would be by ripping them off and throwing them against the wall as hard as you can, and then they would, of course, burst into flames, and sometimes the whole house would burn down. Frickin' and Ben, and so glad that you're here to hear this. Of course, most of these stories are morality tales. These are things that people have that we try to get some sort of lesson out of them. So, but I digress, because what had happened was these had been such a success. Everyone in town, everyone in Allenburg had one of the mayor's throat plugs.
And the name of the mayor was
Grimrock.
Grimrock. Got it. It's confusing.
Throat plugs. Everyone had one, and they'd been using them for several months, and but they hadn't been properly, because they didn't have real soap back then. Of course. Most people know this. Most people think of the time of the plague as being a pretty dirty time.
Yes.
Not only they didn't have toothpaste, they didn't have soap. This was during there was a great siege that was happening elsewhere in the kingdom at the sort of southern tip. There's the tip of Denmark that goes into the North Sea, and then the base of the Denmark, which is in this sort of marshland, and down there were these marauders, and they were part of a greater. They were part of like the kind of Teutonic tribes that had caused so much death and so much pain and destruction, and really caused a lot of these coastal kingdoms like Denmark and the Flemish guys. What are they called? The Flemish, not the Flemish. Yeah, Flanders. And so what became Holland and Belgium.
Ned Flanders.
No, that came much later. And Ned Flanders, and it's funny enough because that was the name of the king of the Marauders.
Well, what a coincidence.
So Ned Flanders, the king of the Marauders, had created this siege that had been going on for many months, keeping the Danish kingdoms from having access to this brand new technology, which was high quality, very, very aggressive and abrasive soaps.
This is an
that had just
interesting
been created.
story, but you've explained this. Go on to the next plot.
Well,
I want to hear the
I'm
plot of the
getting
story.
to the point because you can't.
Okay,
if you don't know the reason that they were blocking all the soap from getting in, and they just had invented soap down in the Ottoman. The Ottoman Turks had just invented soap, and everybody else was getting access to this great abrasive soap, and except for the Danes, who were slowly starting to realize that they could get away from all of these plague-bearing creatures by putting the throat plugs.
Robbie, hit the breaking news button. I have breaking news. You've hit the next level of hype train news. I don't quite understand how it works, but this is the hype train. So the story is going to continue for another 4 or 5 more minutes, and you're making so much money right now.
Well, we're not.
And the money goes to a good cause.
It goes to the good cause, and it also goes to telling these stories, which I do feel like people absolutely do 100% need to hear, because
sound off in the chat
in a time of great change and upheaval and difficulty, I think you'll agree, we all need stories, and symbols are more important than they've ever been. So, of course, the problem that Mayor Grimrock was starting to have was that people were coming into the doctor's office, and of course, it was one of those long, you know what I'm talking about?
Be careful.
When the doctor has the long...
What are you doing?
The doctor would have a...
What are you trying, Robbie? What are you saying?
He looked like a crazy bird, and he would just be. And you go into he'd be sitting, and he'd be like holding court, and he'd be like with his big bird mask on. He'd be like, "Take all your clothes off."
Hold on. You're saying he's actually wearing a bird mask? You're not saying something crazy?
No, I'm not saying anything crazy. He's just a normal doctor with one of those big ass bird masks on.
Got it.
And a hood, and he would have people undressed when they walk in, so he would check their groin and their armpits for the big bumps that you get when you get the
boil.
Bubonic, the bubble plague. They're the bubbles that you get from the bubonic plague.
Boil pustules.
Yes, but they would but one day he noticed that everybody was coming in. They weren't actually complaining about, there was no concern so much about the bubbles, but in fact they were complaining about very, very, very large white spots that were growing in the backs of their throats.
Like a spotted tongue?
No, not a tongue, but way back in the throat, and they were getting these big white blisters all the way back from in the back of the throat, and they were wondering what the hell was going on with them. And at first, the doctor said, "Well, it's the plague." So he started tossing people onto the big bonfire that they would have in the middle, because every once in a while, of course, even with all the work that Grimrock had done with keeping people safe and keeping the plague in check in Allenburg.
Huh?
In the town of Allenburg, Denmark.
Allenburg, like that song.
Every once in a while, somebody would wander through, a merchant or some minstrel, a kind of jester, sort of a traveling theater troupe, and they would have the plague, and then they would perform, and then immediately be tossed into a big pit in the middle of town with the big fire.
I know what you're talking about.
So exactly, and so he was. So we started to do that with people from the town who were complaining about these big new white blisters. But even though they looked quite different from the bubbles that the bubble plague, the bubonic bubble, even though the blisters looked different from the bubbles, he still assumed, and he was a he because there weren't a lot of female doctors back in those times.
Noted.
Of course, if you find yourself a woman in a position of being a medical expert, there was a good chance that you were going to get in a lot of trouble.
What do you mean?
Back in those medieval days.
Well, okay, I don't care. Go on with the story.
Well, it's important because there is a woman doctor that comes in later.
Oh, great.
But eventually half the town has been killed, because at the doctor's orders. Because the doctor, back then the doctors, instead of handing out prescriptions or pills or Band-Aids or shots.
1 minute and 30 seconds to complete this hype train and hear the rest of this very interesting story.
Would hand out the prescription of burning the body of a patient in a big pit. So Mayor Grimrock comes to the doctor one day and he says, "Listen, Doc, I got a big problem. You're killing this whole town, and I got this system going on, and it's keeping us safe from the plague. But here you are, tossing everybody into the fire pit."
Incredible.
And what can we do with that? Well, the doctor takes one look at the mayor and says, "First off, let me see the back of your throat."
Right.
And then
1 minute to complete the story.
Exactly. And the mayor shows the doctor the back of the throat, and guess what? He's got the same stuff.
Oh no!
But luckily, somehow Mayor Grimrock has 19th century 6-shooter revolver.
And when does the story take place?
This takes place in the 13th century.
So I don't understand that.
So well, you can't.
30 seconds.
The full story involves a great deal of time. And
we only need 5% more to finish this.
So he pulls out the gun, points it at the doctor, and says, "Doctor, you take one step back from me, and I'll take one. And you take
20 seconds.
You try to throw me in that pit, I'll blow your brains out."
Oh. So we only need 1 more percent. Robbie, breaking news. Okay, so Robbie has got the next level of this incredible hype train, this incredible story about the plague and the pustules on the throat. This is very interesting. And it's resonating with the people. Our numbers are going through the roof. You're juicing the numbers with this creativity, this mind of yours. So continue the story. You have 5 or 4 more minutes to finish the story.
So, Grimrock turns out to be a cowboy from a cowboy that had fallen into one of those time caves that are out in the desert there.
What the hell are you talking about?
You know how there's sometimes it's like what Manson said. He said that there was caves somewhere that were filled with cities of gold out in the Mojave Desert.
I've never heard that, but
and that was kind of his whole thing. And he was wrong about that, but he was right about one thing, which is that there are caves in the American desert that are filled, at least in terms of this story, there are caves that have portals to different time periods.
This is a real thing, you said?
So and the mayor, it turned out, had been a cowboy, and had been a sheriff in a previous time in a later time period.
He's
who had gone after these bandits, and he had tracked them down to this cave, and they went into the cave, and he went after them, and then they became the marauders that were attacking the Danes, and then he became the mayor of Allenburg.
I get very confused when there's time travel in these stories.
Right. But time travel allows a kind of expand. It's important to know that it's important to know that he was a man. One of the reasons why he was able to create these amazing inventions like the throat plug was because he was a man of some I would say some advanced knowledge of the world. Like he had grown up, as most people do in the 19th century, learning about the Black Plague and learning what had gone wrong. And what he had learned was also involved, because he was descended from the Danes, from the original Danes. There had been, there was sort of prayer books and things like that had drawings of these little creatures. So
the story has a lot of exposition. I don't really know what's happening.
But so the doctor says, "All right, I'll let you live, but you and me we got to get out of this town because I need to figure out, one, we need to figure out what's happening with the white spots. 2, you've turned out to be a different person than I thought who you were, and then I think that you and I need to spend some time together while we decide how to move forward. And 3, I've killed a lot of people, and there are a lot of people who are angry at me, and so it's probably best for my own safety if we all leave together. You and I leave together."
Okay.
So the doctor and Mayor Grimrock leave Allenburg, Denmark, and they go into the woods where they hide out for a while, and they have long conversations.
This is the 2-minute warning. Robbie, you have 2 minutes to end the story. I don't think you're going to get to the next level of hype train because I don't think people are engaging with the plot. The story's a little confusing.
Well, okay.
2 more minutes. Back to you.
All you need to know is that what happened was, what these conversations reveal is that the reason that everyone's getting these white things in their throat is because the throat plugs are irritating the backs of their mouths. They're blistered. The leather doesn't have has become too hard because of all the mucus in people's mouths.
That is
so
interesting.
when it hardens during the day, when the throat plugs aren't in, and they put the throat plugs back in at night, it irritates the back of your throat, and that's how you get a blister.
That is it. Okay, so the story's getting more interesting. We're learning why people have these pustules in their throat, and it's the mouth plug.
But before they can go back so they're realizing that what they need to do for the throat plugs is to wash them properly with very abrasive white soap. Not
like hand soap, like a bar of hand soap.
Like
1 minute warning.
Like a bar, like
1 minute warning. You have 1 minute to end the story because you're not going to get to the next level of hype.
It involves, to get to the soap, they have to treat with the marauders, the Ned Flanders people.
Okay. You better 30 seconds. You better talk fast.
Okay, so
30 seconds.
The moral of the story is that sometimes, and they do it, and they get the soap.
So that's
because
the ending.
And the moral of the story is sometimes the people that you fear the most are the salvation that you have been looking for the whole time.
I don't understand why that's the moral. Who did they fear?
They felt the Marauders and the Black Plague. But if in a tangential story there would be more about the like the little creatures, like the little
yes.
They're kind of like big bed bugs.
So that is the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed that. You did get some sort of a message. We'll give away. Should I give away this now? So type sexuality into the chat. And if you're a subscribing member, I'm going to call out your handle, I think it's called, and you're going to be the owner of this. So type in sexuality right now. I'm going to pick someone at random, and we're just going to do this right now. I don't know what kind of music is on, but maybe it's some sort of sexual music. Okay, I'm picking. Hold on. Oh, it's moving too quick. Okay, here we go. M-E Wisp. M_E_Wisp. Wisp?
Is that... And what's
Mr. Wisp.
Mr. Wisp.
Mr. E Wisp.
And that's what they were called, Alan.
Oh wait, is that how do I know? Oh yeah. Is that a sub? How do you tell if someone's subbing?
Mr. Wisp was the name of the big bodied creature that all of the little squirmy little big bed bugs came from.
How do I see if they sub to us?
And he was called Mr. Wisp because
they're not a sub. Sorry, Mr. Wisp.
Sorry, Mr. Wisp.
Okay, I see who's a sub. Cupping 2003, you are the winner. I'm sorry to Mr. E-Wisp. I'm sorry I tricked you. You are the winner, so email electronicgameinformation@gmail.com, your home address. We will not dox you, and you will be receiving this sexual object, and Robbie will be very happy. Back to you, Robbie. And now you can start the show. Sorry
now
about
we
that.
can start the show. Thank you for your
what a long intro.
Your assistance here. We are
Congratulations.
EGI2 Stream 9 live here at Twitch. Hold on for a second. Let me just.
Wow, what a long intro.
Wow, what an interesting. I think that we can all learn from that story, Alan.
I feel like I did learn something, and I just think it's a very unique program. I don't think anyone else on Twitch starts their stream with such a long story where they have guests on the show and they don't talk to the guests and they go off. And I'm glad because I like when you do that. I like watching you cook, so I'm letting you cook and go off, King. You are my king. Back to you, Robbie.
Go off and go off, my little Allan. Welcome to EGI2 Stream 9. This is Stream 9. We're so I'm glad to have invited. So this is the story. If you're just joining the twitch.tv/EGI_family for the first time, we are a brand new show called EGI2 that needs sponsorship. And right now we do have sponsors that are made up, which is of course the Dreamcast mech fighting game Frame Guide, mini gaming desktops that cost around $800, bitmap books, and copper wire. Which are all these are all fake, not real sponsorships, but we've used them over the course of the previous 8 streams to illustrate what it would be like to have a real sponsorship that would give us then money that we could use to buy mini gaming desktops. But since we are not succeeding in getting the real getting real sponsorships, I thought it would be instructive for us to invite 2 of the most successful people I've ever met, Cricket and Ben, back from the past, from the previous. But we had another show called Electronic Game Information, Alan. I think you remember Electronic Game Information.
I was such a big fan of that show. It was such a wonderful show.
And
one of my favorite shows.
And EGI2 is not that show. It's a different show. The EGI does not mean anything, and the 2 doesn't make any sense. But the email address, we still have access to that email address. So that is the email address. I couldn't figure out how to make the email address different.
You can put it
or make a new email address because we did.
It's easy. I could help you with that.
There was somebody that used to help us make things like that, and that person disappeared.
But
Cricket and Ben have not disappeared. They are still here on this planet, on the great planet Earth. They share that world with us, here on twitch.tv/EGI_2. And I would hope that they would have some thoughts as to how we could expand our base of financial resource, and by in doing so, build a revenue stream that goes up and not simply side down and then lower.
So are we live right now?
We're live. This is twitch.tv/EGI_2 live on that website I just named.
Everything, all that stuff you were saying, Dean, that was on stream?
That was on the stream. That's part of the program.
People were watching.
We have an agreement with the chat to, whenever the hype train starts, to do a story of a morality tale of my choosing.
Okay, cool.
Was it real when you said there were no women doctors?
Well, in the world of the story, I was saying that the women it would be difficult for a woman to be a doctor of Allan birth because they would get into big trouble.
Why?
Why would they get into big trouble?
Well, yeah.
Because of the Papists.
What does that mean?
Catholics.
Oh, I see.
So with that all that stuff happening and all the talking and all that, did you made a couple thousand off that, or what? How much does that bring in?
Probably around between $5 and $8.
And I have a quick question for Ben and Cricket.
Yes.
If I'm an employee of EGI2, if Robbie's making so much profit off of these stories, and I'm here helping, I'm hyping people up, I'm saying sub in the chat, send us your bits and bytes, I feel like I should be getting a little bit of the monetization should be coming to Allan. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely not. In general, I feel like if somebody owns something, then they, like, what's implied in that is that they own it, if that makes sense. And I think what you're describing is trying to own something that what somebody else owns, and that is actually called stealing.
Oh, I'm sorry, Robbie. I didn't mean to be stealing.
It's okay, Allan.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Cricket.
We steal
sorry,
without.
Sorry, Robbie.
I think there's another story I was going to tell before I told the plague story about how some people didn't know how stealing was invented.
Maybe
and
next time.
Maybe
if we get another hype train, you could tell that story.
I mean, but the fact of the matter is, Ben and Cricket, is that as two people who've had as much success as you've had over the years, I mean, absolutely. I'd tip my hat if I was wearing a hat. I would tip my hat to you, or I would, if I were to open there's a door over there, and if I were to open the door and to throw the hat to you, it would be a hat of gratitude and a hat of respect.
What?
Thank you.
And that is why I want you to tell me how to make that $5 to $8 into $500 to $800.
Okay. All right.
Do you want to take?
If you remember, and this is obvious, and this as a kind of a structural choice here that we've made at the outset of the show and the producing of the show. I'm leaning in because I'm ready to listen.
Okay, so there's no. Okay, I'm gonna have to talk for a while. Do you think you can actually be quiet for a couple minutes? Or?
Where's that stick?
Where's the stick?
I'll be right back. I'll get the stick.
Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that if I got my claws into this show, I could make this show 100,000, 200,000, 300,000.
Okay.
Call them what you want, dollars, people,
right,
energy, whatever. It's all the same.
Right.
But I have to tell you where I've been and where I am now, and I'm here for a reason. Okay?
Right.
So first of all, a few years ago, right? Pandemic, everything falls apart. I start investing in this gym.
Right.
Okay, the gym is called Fitness 20.
Fitness 20.
And the idea is it's this giant warehouse, and there's one bench press machine in the center of there's only one. And in the room, there's 3,000 people, and they're all trying to get to the bench press machine. And that's kind of the first workout, is that they're all kind of fighting each other and to get to that machine.
Right.
And the machine itself is electrified. So while you're doing the bench press, and people are grabbing your feet and stuff while they're trying to pull you off.
Electrified.
Yeah, and you're holding a couple hundred pounds if you're me or someone else. But and they're pulling you off the machine. Yeah, fuck, I'm getting electrocuted. But you're getting stronger this whole time.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, this was an insane success.
Right.
And I made
because people love to be shocked. And that's
people
what
love to be
that's
shocked.
That's what the story, the shock comedy, and the shock in real life.
We had social media followers, Instagram followers, Twitter, Instagram, and there was so much money, and it sounds great, right?
Absolutely. what I want to know.
No, Robbie,
okay.
Listen.
Okay.
I got into Celsius. Do you know Celsius?
Oh yeah.
I was doing up to 2 or 3 Celsius a day.
Wait, Celsius is a character from like Metal Gear Solid.
No,
right?
it's an energy drink.
Oh.
And I'm not sure what they put in it, but I hit rock bottom basically. I started to. So basically, I took all my money and I wasted it all on Celsius and parties and all this stuff, and then I took what I had left and I invested it in GameStop, but I didn't realize that was just that one time thing. I thought you could do that anytime.
Right.
And I lost everything. Okay, and I realized that I needed to change, and I needed to, and I also was sued, and I can't do other stuff anymore. So I went to school for being a therapist.
Right.
And also, I started to develop my own psychic abilities and other things. So I'm here today because I actually want to help you in a different way. I want to let you know that what you're doing is not okay, and you are sick. And I mean, just imagine my perspective. 5 years ago, what are you doing? You're doing EGI
trying to gain information
on Adult Swim and making pretty good money.
Yeah, well, yeah. Sure.
And then what is it? I
got paid for that as well.
Yes, and 5 years later,
which was stealing, but there's a
I mean,
statute of
but
limitations.
he reinvested back into the show.
But listen. 5 years later, I've grown as a person. I've
Right.
changed. I've got new endeavors. I'm learning that people will pay $500, $600 for psychic therapy for. That that they'll do all these sorts of things. I'm taller a little bit, I think.
Oh yeah.
And I come here, and you are slightly withered.
Yeah.
You're in a garage.
No.
You're doing EGI 2.
Well, yes, yeah.
And it's not. And you're making $5 to $8.
But I am. But I'm not. I'm not selling nothing. I am selling. I believe I am selling moral compass. I feel like I'm settled. I've settled on a moral direction that I would like to expand upon, and also, and to do that, we're not only doing the stories, but we're also talking about a very specific range of video game history and news between 2002 and 2011, except for the times that we do the other years, to tell the story that I think people not only want to hear, but need to hear, because there is so much division in the world. And I believe that those 9 years of video game history, culture, news, what have you, evolution makes it so we have those years unified us. And so we're taking it back to that.
I hear you.
Except for the times that we do the other years.
Allan,
thank you.
Yeah.
Do you know? So, just quick question for you: do you know what it means to enable?
I think it's just the way. I think it's when you help, when you help someone's esteem. You say nice things to them and just kind of help them accomplish their goals.
That's part of it. That's when you do all that stuff to someone who has a mental illness,
right?
And in a way that keeps them kind of locked into.
I don't think you're. I hear what you're saying, but I don't think you're getting the full picture, because Robbie didn't explain the Stream Deck, because he's not paying me with money, or we're not making money, but he did get these Stream Decks, and they're the big ones.
Of these now.
And there's 2 of them, and I get to use it while I'm in the studio, and it's super fun. So.
And mine has different camera shots that we can do.
Mine has,
and then Allan's has different sound effects.
Oh yeah, mine
That's
has.
so cool.
Wait, hold on. Let me do the sound effect. It has sound effects. There's a disappointed sound effect. There's a big male celebration sound effect.
That's really cool.
And then I also can do. I have these pictures of Robbie.
It's sort of.
That's cool.
Yeah, so we can bring
That's
that.
great.
The pictures are really
it's kind
good.
of like that. Remember that movie Shutter Island, where everybody on the big island in the scary hotel makes a big effort to solve the case together, and they all solve the murder mystery, and they find the murderer, and then everybody gets to leave the island and go back home.
Here's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think you should listen to Ben because I think that Ben is the most spiritual, amazing person I've ever met.
I definitely feel like I'm getting a lot of spiritual waves. I don't know if that's what that is, if that's a wave that I'm feeling right now, but there does seem to be something physical happening between the two of you that doesn't happen between me and Allan.
Robbie
it
and I
never
did
would.
hug once, and it felt so warm and strong. It was really an incredible hug, and it felt so good. But I just want to say that Robbie's also very spiritual, and he has enlisted me in some sort of a religion. What was it?
Zoroastrianism.
So I'm now Zoroastrian, and that's all thanks to Robbie, because before that I would never have even gone anywhere near that stuff. Back to you, Cricket.
Back to you, Ben. Back to you, Cricket.
Okay, but I just want to say one thing, which is like just sort of taking what Ben said and then hot dogging on top of it.
I love when people hot dog.
Which is that I think the key to success is either like, and I'm just sort of paraphrasing what you were saying here,
Thank
but
you
I
so
think
much.
the key to success is either you have to change all the time or you have to change not at all.
Not at all.
And the problem
Love that.
here is that you've changed a little
And
bit.
it's getting worse.
Right.
So it's like you're not the same as you used to be. You're like a little bit worse, but you're not so much worse that we want to keep supporting you.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you're saying if I was the kind of person, say if I was renting a hotel room on Shutter Island, and I had gone to the window one morning, and I had forgotten to wear all my clothes, and I showed everybody on the island what I looked like with no clothes on. Everyone would basically have a very solid kind of a decision. Everyone would have made a decision about who I was. And if I had kept doing that same thing over and over and over the course of many, many months while solving the murder mystery, then people would assume that I was that kind of person, and I was locked into that destiny, and therefore they would have to respect me. But if I had gone to the window one morning and I was just wearing a shirt but nothing underneath while solving the murder mystery of Shutter Island, then those people would be confused, and the respect is like, it's sort of the opposite of a hype train, Allan, I think.
What is the opposite of a hype
The
train?
opposite of hype. Well, the hype train is a solid
Choo-choo,
right to left
choo-choo,
trajectory.
right to left. It's a
And
train.
then to wear the shirt with the no pants on Shutter Island is to head down. Is to head into kind of a trough.
Well,
No,
I'm so
please.
confused.
so to put it in other terms, like if you had gotten a job like at a kennel,
Got it.
I would have.
On Shutter Island.
No, just IRL. I would have been excited. You know what I mean? Like I would have been like, oh,
Yes.
Robbie's gonna do it now. Like
Right.
he's okay. When I saw
would be
that you
cool.
were making EGI again,
Two. It's actually
it's
different.
a different show.
Doesn't
I
even mean the same
spit
thing.
Right.
out the Celsius that out because I was still on it
Right.
up until very recently. And I was like, what am I doing? I got to get my life together. You know what I mean?
Right. Kind of like, yeah, like the detective in Shutter Island.
Similarly, in a sense, more like I'm Martin Scorsese and you're a character stuck in a story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like but what you're saying to me
Yeah.
is that, okay, so you're Martin Scorsese, so you're not even there.
Wait, hold on. If he's Martin Scorsese, who am I in the story?
So you're probably
Mark Ruffalo
Mark
or
Ruffalo,
what's his
yeah,
character?
like
No,
more
no,
like
no,
So
it's
the
like-
Incredible Hulk.
When you're making a movie,
I'll take it.
sometimes at night you have to put the cameras to bed.
Right.
And they put these things, I know this from my shows.
Right.
They're called lens caps. You put them over the camera at night.
Right.
That's kind of what you are in the story, in the Martin Scorsese movie. You're like you put the camera to bed at night, you're the lens cap.
But what I want to know is I'm the process of getting the EGI to the revenue to go up is sort of like me solving the murder mystery of Shutter Island. And so what I need to know
is this one of your stories?
So who's no this is no because this
But
is
isn't the
everyone knows.
reveal in Shutter Island that the guy is like dead or something?
No, he says what?
Isn't
La,
it
la,
like
la, la.
not happening?
Yeah,
No,
he's seeing dead
You're
people.
talking about
Like
that's
every
a
Nicolas
completely
Cage
different-
was
you're
dead the
talking-
whole
you're
time.
talking-
Nicolas Cage.
Stop.
Yeah, no,
No,
it's
no,
that
no,
movie
no,
where
no,
Nicolas
stop,
Cage
stop.
is
Nicolas
dead.
Cage-
Stop. I haven't
Nicolas
seen
Cage-
Shutter Island. Stop.
Well,
So
that's
have
not
you-
our fault
Oh!
anymore.
Literally, okay, it's a murder mystery where the good guys win, Alan. That's all you need to know. And everybody goes home and they have a normal. The 1950s are completely normal from then on.
That does sound good.
Until Kennedy is assassinated.
Can I ask
and
a
then
question?
it goes downhill again. But what I want to know, so I'm the detective, I'm solving the murder mystery, and the murderer
Mark Ruffalo.
is the and Alan is the Mark
Ruffalo.
Hulk.
Hulk. Oh, great.
Who said? What does he say in the movie? He's always mad.
He's so I don't remember. I didn't
He
see
says, well, that's how he does. That's and if you guys haven't seen the Marvel movies, you got to try it out because he says the greatest thing, which is people are always worried he's going to turn into the Hulk. If he
I
gets
remember
mad.
what he said.
And they say, "What's your secret?" Because you ain't been told it. They haven't turned
Yes.
into the Hulk
We'll say it at
very
the
much
same
at all
time.
these days.
We'll
And
say
he
it at
says
the
the secret is
I'm always mad.
he's always mad.
Ah, fuck. I'm sorry. I get psychic zaps when I'm around men with low T, so I'm just in
Can I
kind
talk-
of a
Can I talk to
weird
Ben?
place right now. I feel
Cricket?
kind of sick.
Breaking. No one else is talking about this. But Alan does want to talk to Ben and Cricket about this.
Go on.
I wanted to. Okay, everything that's been said has been super interesting and super helpful. I agree. It would have been nice if Robbie worked at a kennel. I agree, but this is where we are now. I don't know if you can see what we were touching behind Robbie. We'll do it in the front. So,
Right.
anyways, this is the hand we've been dealt. We're doing EGI2. We're doing it, and it is somewhat profitable. But basically, why you guys are here is I work for EGI2, and I've been trying to goose the numbers since I started. Since he employed me, really, I've been goosing the numbers
Well,
like
you
crazy.
don't work necessarily. I'm scared. I don't think like you're using the word correctly. You don't really work for EGI2. You're part of the EGI2 family, and families don't pay each other.
I understand that families don't pay each other. I understand that I'm not paid. I'm paid in experience and fun.
Yes, and
But I
Stream Deck
still
fun.
want the family to prosper and be good.
Yeah.
So I want your advice. I want to just show you some of the things I've been doing to goose the numbers so that we can grow our family, the EGI family, the followers and the subs, and hopefully the stacks of cash will get higher and higher. So James, I have a video could you show that video and tell me if you guys think, not that video, that video. Show the video and there's no audio. We can talk over it, but you can just put it on screen. I think just not me.
This is
You can just put it on screen.
Nicky Mania for the Sega.
You can just
Sega
put it
CD.
on. Business? Yeah, because I think this sort of imagery is so fascinating to me, and it's actually built an empire. The Disney franchise has been built off the back of the images we're seeing tonight. So I've been trying to get it through Robbie's head that we should be showing this every night, over and over and over and over again.
No, you know, actually, this brings up a good point, which is, yeah, sure. Had you shown this 70 years ago,
Right.
You know what I mean?
I see.
Right,
Context.
which is when Shutter Island takes place.
when Shutter Island takes place, but also when that was innovative, you know?
When it
I
was
see.
good or cool
Right.
or
It's
hip
too.
or- Yeah.
Okay. Oh shoot, Robbie, you didn't tell me that.
Now, do you have anything more like sexy style?
Yes, actually,
Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I do have another pitch for you guys, and you can tell me if this is kind of a good idea. My computer's been making these almost by accident. I've been making these photos of Robbie, and I've been looking at
Okay.
other Twitch streams, and there's a lot of this sort of hot tub stuff. So I've been trying to get Robbie to get a hot tub, and this is
Now
sort of
we're talking.
this is just a proof of concept of what that would look like
Yes.
if we were to invest some of the funds from the
Yes.
show back into a hot tub that we could get in. And I would try to get in the hot tub too. Let me see if I have any.
This can work. This could work. And if I was allowed to invest in anything legally, I would put every dime I have into
Thank you, Ben.
these pictures and
Oh.
you showing them.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you. Wait. Okay.
Cricket,
I think it's
I would like to crick. I'd like to crick on Pickett. Crick Pickett's. Hold on. I get
Quick
it. I would like to pick Cricket's brain for a second, because Cricket, I've noticed that you've been spending a lot of time goosing numbers, and I'd like to know exactly what are you doing to goose the numbers in your situation, because the numbers that I'm seeing coming from your side of the field are astronomical. And what is it that? How did you get to? What happened to you?
Okay, so here's the thing. I spent the last 3 years completely alone in a room.
Right.
I've
What
never.
about all those pictures I see of you at the parties?
That's after the last 3 years.
Oh.
Those are about to happen.
Oh.
And sometimes I Photoshop pictures of Cricket in different places.
Yes.
Got it. All right.
So here's the thing, Robbie. This is what I mean, where it's like, you know how some people, like their beloved dog dies and then they decide to clone that same dog again? That's awesome, right? It's the same dog you've always loved. Or let's say your dog dies and then you go and you get an entirely new dog and it's a puppy and it's a dog that no one has ever seen before.
Right.
Those are the two good options. Same dog as before, dog that no one's ever seen before.
Right.
What you are is like if you clone the old beloved dog but then put just some like shitty legs on it.
So if I took what you're saying is, if you took there's two things you could do to build people's interest in the dog. One, clone the same dog.
Yes.
Or two, get a new dog.
Yes.
But if you just clone part of the dog,
Yes.
if you're basically to get a new dog and then put one of the old dog's leg on it,
Yes.
people would be upset.
And
Yes.
then you go to your kids and you're like, hey, you remember how you loved that dog named Turbo Dog? Or no, what's a better name? Zab?
Like
Zab.
yeah, like
I think
Zab. And then you're like, oh, I have this
Hazel.
new dog. His name's Zab,
Zab.
but that's a coincidence.
right.
That actually might make them feel
Robbie?
And I
Weird,
wanna-
like a
okay,
little,
yeah,
like
kinda weird.
it's
but
just
before we
not the
get-
kind of thing you would want to invest in.
And absolutely, there's nothing. And there's what I would point out that we do try to everybody just try to stay clean. We keep the brown word out of our mouth.
What's the
if we
brown
The
word?
brown word?
What was
we
the brown?
possibly
I didn't hear
can.
any brown word.
You guys know.
doo-doo poo-poo? Poo-poo?
Yeah.
Shit poo-poo?
Hey,
Which one?
Robbie, if I were to pass on or die,
Right.
would you clone me or you get a new
Well, this is the question. This is why I think it's important for Brendan Cricket to be here, because they can tell me, okay, so Allan gets sick, and let's say the bubonic plague comes back, and Allan gets a big old bubble on his groin, and we can't lance it in time.
Why
So
can't we lance it?
We can't lance it in time because it got too big, we do lance it, and it bleeds everywhere. But we have, and obviously your body is completely useless.
Okay, yes.
But we still got the DNA from the blood.
Right. Oh, okay. Interesting.
But why can't you just lance? You can't just lance that?
Well, it was too late, is what I'm saying. What if
You know
it's too
why?
late?
You know why you can't lance it? Because they don't let women be doctors, and women would not be afraid to do something like that.
That's so true.
And I'm glad that you bring that up, Cricket, because I do think that this is an issue that we have not quite resolved with the Catholic Church from the period of the 12th to 15th century, 11th to 12th to 15th century. Women doctors were oftentimes put up for adoption. Not adoption. What's the other one?
For sale.
Burning.
Burning.
Oh,
For
right.
burning. They were put up for burning.
Exactly. So they burnt all these great doctors and set us back
what a
several
waste.
years.
What a
So
waste.
they gave the Ottoman Turks and the Persians and
But
that's why we should not burn doctors.
What's
We
the
should not
Central
do
Asian
that.
Empire called?
The which one?
No, the
Mongolians?
it's like no. It's like
Russians?
no the nomads.
It's interesting to have a full episode where we don't talk about games.
So
just
just
once.
real
It's
quick
so
though,
interesting.
what I just want to jump off what Cricket was saying because I like to cut her off
The
and speak
Teutons.
for her.
Thank you very much, Rose Kroon.
Women have a intuition,
Right.
a feminine energy
Right.
that is extraordinarily powerful.
And
And this is scientific. This is scientific.
Absolutely. This is what the bomb was about.
You can put different sodas behind a cardboard boxes with the straws out, and they can go. That's Pepsi.
Right.
That's Coke Zero.
Yes.
That's Diet Coke.
But which one's
And
the woman?
The woman is the one doing the sucking on the straw.
Whoa.
And
Ben, is this real?
yes, this is women feminine energy. Anyway, Cricket, go on.
No, this is what I was going to say. And when you actually cut me off before when I was saying I've been alone in a room
Alone.
I was alone in a room for 3 years. I was tasting every soda.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
And I used that time because, like, here's the thing. Before the pandemic, I used to be totally different, and everybody expected me to not ever be alone in a room. And then the pandemic happened, and I realized everything needed to change. So I went into a room for 3 years. I tasted every soda. And because it was entirely different from the way that I used to be, I was a brand new dog. I got so much money.
You made money
so
doing
much
this?
money.
From
I got so much money.
This is from the soda tasting?
From just being a new person, because like energy attracts money.
And
Right.
And
that's why
this is my whole thing, and this is what I'm writing a book about. But
Right,
go
okay.
on.
Yeah, so
Go
no,
on.
this is what I'm just
Go
hot
on.
dogging off what Ben said, because like Ben's always right about stuff, and so you should listen.
Robbie's right about stuff too.
No, Robbie's never
Robbie
been
is
right.
right.
No,
Robbie
One,
is-
Robbie's
wait. Name one thing Robbie's right about.
The stream decks.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They've got lots of buttons on them. You can make sound effects and different camera shots.
a broken clock is wrong
Twice.
every single time except twice, and there's 2 stream decks.
Right.
That's just what I'm saying.
See,
That's
this was
this is just what I'm saying,
Got it.
but it is right.
But what you're saying, and I'm leaning in, and I'm hearing what you're saying, and what you're saying is that you were when you said Aron in the room.
I can hear you.
I was reminded of the great philosopher Aronis, of the Greek female philosopher Aronis, who was taken from us at far too young an age.
Why?
Would you say he was taken erroneously?
I would say, first of all, it was a woman, and secondly, Aronis would have. Aronis.
It's okay, man.
Had we followed. There's always inflection points in history, especially ancient history. So if you would take the Aronis path, we would be on one side of things, and that side of things would be a path of, I think, greater illumination, greater prosperity, a spreading of the seeds of prosperity to twitch.tv/EGI_2. But instead, we've locked ourselves behind these barn doors, Allan.
Barn doors.
These fucking
Whoa.
barn doors, and I don't mean to say that we. I don't use that word unless I have to.
Robbie,
Yeah.
can you look me in the eyes and tell me that you're not alone in this room right now?
I'm alone. How
Can you look me in the eyes and tell me that right now you're not alone in this room right now?
All right.
You have people here who
I have people here.
Can you look
And
me in the eyes and
I'm
can you just look
Okay,
us in the
can you be
eyes?
serious for a
Can
second?
you just look us in the eyes and understand that you're not?
I'm struggling to understand what it is that you have done so successfully, together or separately.
Okay.
But also, what I want to know: do you put like pictures of your feet on the internet? Are you calling people in the middle of the night?
Sorry, I'm coughing.
I mean, are you letting people call you in the middle of the night?
Robbie,
Either of you, because we've not.
So-
we've drifted away from, I think, what most people would say is quality behavior.
Robbie,
so
Robbie,
confused.
We can have this conversation. We can have the conversation about what you should do with the stream and all that stuff, and it's really, really simple, and we'll just do it really quick. Put clips online.
Yeah.
Done. We have the conversation is over.
I've been Robbie.
Put
why don't
clips
you, why don't you
online.
put-
We don't have to talk anymore. Get
Yeah.
a YouTube. They pay you to put videos on there.
you
Yeah.
just
Alright.
put them in the format
Yeah.
where it looks good on the phone.
Oh, you guys, there's a funny segment on your show. 5-minute clip goes to YouTube. People
Yeah.
just watch the clip. They go, that was really funny. Where do I follow that?
But-
oh my God, that got 100,000 views. That's about $400.
I like
Okay.
that. That's really, that makes
Does
sense.
it take, you guys are both editors.
Oh,
Okay?
shoot.
You're both editors.
Robbie, he's right.
But what I want to know is, we're talking so specifically. This is the question I'm getting at. We're talking so specifically about video games between 2002 and 2011. Do we need to move so it's like a
Allan,
bracket?
put up the picture right now of Robbie that you made in AI. How long did it take you to make that picture?
I didn't do it on purpose. I was using a software that was upscaling a very low resolution video file of a game trailer for Robbie.
This is my point. You made 1 million pictures of Robbie that are 6, and you could have made a clip. Do you know what I mean? But you're in the room and you're doing sexy stuff, and then you just throw it up for a second here.
Sexy stuff.
I mean, have you guys ever filled out a fucking spreadsheet in your lives? You know what I mean?
Robbie has a spreadsheet.
I do have a spreadsheet.
Robbie, tell him about the spreadsheet.
So I have the spreadsheet where I take all of the video games that I purchase whenever I purchase a video game, I put on the spreadsheet how much money I spent on the video game, and then over the course of the rest of my life, I track how much time I've spent playing the video game, with the expectation that at some point in the distant future, I will have spent $1 for every 1 hour of time I've spent.
Robbie, you know how 3-legged dogs are extra happy?
I've never heard that.
Go off on that.
You know they're like
Yes.
kind of extra. You're kind of like a 4-legged dog.
Right, exactly.
You know,
You
you
don't
need
know-
to embody the energy of a
You are kind of like a 4-legged dog.
legged dog.
Robbie, you are like a 4-legged dog. I never
You know,
thought about that.
even I want to go even further. The magic of a 3-legged dog.
Mm-hmm.
Robbie's almost like a 6-legged dog.
Yes,
You know
two.
what I mean?
Yes. Oh my God, too many.
But here's the thing: is that I don't want to be I don't mind the idea of being some sort of a dog or an animal or a thing that is as long as it's keeping the stream afloat, as long as it's got a revenue stream that's growing, not troughing. I'm fine with that. What I worry is that by accomplishing certain tasks, or if I gotta do something to be sexy, or if I have to curse more, or be dirty, or be a nasty person, if I'm gonna invite nastiness into my life, I worry that the dog legs will turn into those, like in the story that we were telling earlier about the plague, the squiggly legs of a giant oily bed bug that crawls down people's throats at night and gives them a bunch of groin bubbles.
Robbie, here's the thing, and I think this is your whole problem. You're saying, who can I be? Should I do this? Should I do that? Who can I be to be successful? But successful people like me, we're just ourselves.
Right.
And I know that that's hard to believe, because when you look at somebody like me, I'm out on the slopes, I'm in the hot tub, I'm making money, I'm at the game, I'm coming home from the game, I'm in my kitchen. You're like, can one person do all of those things? No, but I can, because that is actually who I am. And so I think that people respond to that.
Right.
Like when they look me in the eyes, they're like, okay, there's someone there. She's here in the room with me. She's being herself. She's on the slope. She's in the studio. She's making her shows. So it's not like, what do I do? It's just that I have to do it, and you need to think about what
Exactly.
you need to do.
What I'm always, the question is that with all the successful people there were in the Middle Ages, you got to ask how many of them at night to make it to the point where they got to have a big house and lots of servants and 2 or 3 wives or like a big baby.
Let it out, buddy.
They had to do lots of crazy stuff, crusades, doctor burning, like witches and doctors that got, woman doctors, also known as witches, that got burnt. They had to throw people in the pit. They had to pull them apart with the horses. And this is how they got success, and history is written by the victors. But at some point,
that's great.
They had to go into the back room of their house and whip themselves with spiky leather straps, also known as I think it's flagellation, Allan.
Yeah, that's what I do. I call it flagellation when I do it.
So yeah, that's great, Robbie. That's awesome, dude. I love all the stuff you're saying.
To what end do we? I think this is a good time to transition a bit to our next segment, which of course is funny video game news.
Uh-oh!
Can I just say something first for a second?
All right, just for 1 second.
I just wanted to.
And then we're gonna do funny video game news.
I can't wait.
I just wanted to say something about cricket first, which was that just to compliment you, because you honestly inspire me so much.
Oh my God, thank you.
And like just the other day, just like a week ago, cricket was like The dream I've always had is getting my feet up on WikiFeet, getting a profile
Yes.
up on WikiFeet. Literally 3 days later, I get a Google alert on my phone because I have one set up for this, and it says Cricket Arison WikiFeet finally. And I immediately go there. I immediately check it out. It's incredible. And that was 3 days.
Right.
Yeah.
You manifest your pure light and energy.
Thank you.
And when you want to do something, when you put your mind to it, it happens. That's all.
I want to just
I think we can all
chime
learn
in.
from
I
it.
agree, that's very sweet. I just want to chime in. Robbie has really big feet.
Okay.
They're
Yeah.
huge. So if anyone's
Can't
gonna
really-
be, if anyone's gonna be seeing pictures of a foot, I think Robbie's foot should be the foot. No offense to Cricket, but I just think Robbie's foot is so big. It's just huge.
Right. If I put my foot up there, I think it would have I think it would have a negative impact on the rest of the website. Not. I think it's almost like you know how like magnets.
Mm-hmm.
Not like I would take over the website. Not that my foot would be more popular than the website, but I think that by simply putting the foot on the website,
You'd have an
the
unfair
website
advantage.
would have trouble people will be repelled by the fact that the feet are there, and they wouldn't want to see the feet any more feet.
Hey,
It's sort of
Rob-
like if you walk into you know how you walk
Good
into a
stuff,
buffet
man.
sometimes,
Great show.
and there's just like a little bit of like a puke in the bathroom, like a Golden
This is a
Corral
great
or,
show
or
and a
like
great
a Chinese
story.
buffet or like an Indian food restaurant, and you just like you're so excited to eat. You haven't eaten all day.
I don't eat.
And then you walk into this restaurant and there's a little bit of puke in the bathroom. It kind of ruins the whole restaurant experience, and you want to just leave,
That's
go
so
home,
true, man.
and just drink some water.
I'm so glad you're talking about
And I think
this.
that's what I'm trying to say is how do I get to the point where I can put, I guess what you're trying to tell me is that I need to have fancy new feet that I can put up,
Sure,
and
yeah, man.
so I can.
Hey, Robbie, why don't you do that little funny video game thing you're about
All
to
right,
do?
so let's do funny
That'll
video
make you
game
happy.
news, and then we'll come back to it.
Alan, do you want a massage?
Yes, I do. Can you come out into my studio?
What if?
Hold on. I'll get it.
So funny video game news. The funny video game news segment starts now. Red Eye from Last Bronx is in the funny video game news right now.
You're gonna love this, Ben.
Because Red Eye, it says Red Eye there, but in fact it's the whole game Last Bronx, the Sega AM3, Sega Saturn, and PlayStation 2's Sega Ages fighting game, Last Bronx. Last Bronx, where you fight at the end of
That's
the end of the
funny,
game.
Robbie.
The funny thing is at the end of the game you fight Red Eye. But that's not the funny video game news because the president of the Indian National Congress Party, Rahul Gandhi, said on the character select screen, enter right, left, up, down, start, and you should hear Red Eye,
That's so funny,
Red Eye
Robbie.
from Last Bronx, laugh, and then you see a picture on the character select screen.
Yes.
You see a picture of. Well, you got your cursor over the character you're going to select, but that cursor then turns into Red Eye, and then you press Start, and then you
Thank
get
you,
to
Ben.
play as Red Eye.
That's
So
so nice.
the funny video game news is, of course, that it's if you put that code in, that Rahul Gandhi, that leader of the Indian National Indian Congress Party, who is also the opposition leader, he and I believe is running for president
Good
this
luck.
year. Alan.
Good luck, Mr. What was his name?
Rahul Gandhi. He's the scion of the Gandhi Nehru dynasty.
Robbie,
the
Robbie,
people-
Robbie, why don't you ever touch me
the
like
first
this?
the government that of course came into power after the British colonial after the emancipation of the Indian political system from the British Raj. And he likes Last Bronx, so that's the funny video game news.
How did you come up with that?
Next up with funny video game news,
It's
it's
funny.
guess what? It's Last Bronx
Oh.
again. Last Bronx is, of
Again?
course, if we're talking about fighting games, if you're talking about AM3 and you want to know about what one, if
That
we were
feels
talking
so
about
good.
inflection points earlier with the
Can you crack my back?
Aronis, the queen of the witches, Aronis. Well, this was an inflection point for for fighting games
Yeah.
in
Wow.
the
Wow.
Sega pantheon. again, back to the Greeks, when you talk about pantheons.
Oh my God.
So if in
I don't
Virtua
think
Fighter 3,
honestly, I
Virtua
don't
Fighter
think I've ever been touched.
Virtua Fighter 3 was one direction, and the inflection was one in what is the Woods?
One Direction,
What's
is
the
it a
Woods
band?
poem?
Two Acuras.
No. Is the Woods two Acuras?
Two Acuras diverged
Two
in a
Acuras, yes. So
lonely wood.
Okay.
So the Acura, one Acura goes towards Virtua Fighter 3, and the other Acura goes towards Last Bronx. But we all took the
Woo.
Acura that went towards Virtua Fighter 3, and if
There's
we
so
had
much
gone
snot coming out of my nose,
to
Robbie.
Last Bronx,
I'm wet with snot. Oh my God.
we would have seen a different type of future, and perhaps a
Oh,
different future
he's doing
overall.
that thing where they touch your head, where they do to your hair. You've ever seen that?
A different
There's so much
future-
dead skin sloughing off my hair.
A different future
Wow.
overall for perhaps Sega hardware, as well as the instead of seeing a arcade perfect port of Last Bronx on the PlayStation 2, as we see here, you would get a arcade perfect port on
Yup.
perhaps a Dreamcast 2 or a Game Gear
Understood.
3 or a Sega CD, a Sega CD 64.
Is that
So that's not the, but that's not the funny
is that-
video game news. The funny video game news is from none other than former Secretary of Defense General Jim Mattis.
Uh-oh, Mad
Last
Dog
Bronx is set-
Mattis. Mad Dog Mattis
and-
under
and
the chat.
Mad Dog Mattis says Last Bronx is set in an alternative version of post-Japanese bubble Tokyo, where youth disenchantment and disillusion with Japan's explosive economic and societal progression lead into the culmination of the historic violent underground event known as the All Tokyo Street
Are you talking about
Wars.
Are you talking about Yakuza?
No, this is a separate. The Yakuzas were, of course, part of the were part of the
Oh, he's pulling on my ears.
Historical,
I can hear stuff. I can hear you better.
divisions created during the Shogun era.
Okay.
Some say, and I think most people in the chat will probably have an answer to this. Some say that the Yakuzas were sort of a direct line from them from the samurais and during the
I can hear new stuff.
Reconstruction era.
Robbie, your voice sounds really good. Ugh.
But I think that that some would also say that there were more of the Shogun warlords and the families of those Shogun warlords. But here, former Secretary of Defense
I can
Jim
smell you.
Mattis is, of course, the funny video game news
Mad
is that
Dog
he's
Mattis.
just as obsessed with Last Bronx as
It's so funny, Robbie.
he's just as obsessed with Last Bronx as Rahul
Oh, wow,
Gandhi.
it smells really
So the
good in
whole-
here.
From opposition parties in one country to former cabinet members
how do you know
in
how to do
another
this?
country, people across the world in 2024 on twitch.tv/EGI_2 EGI2 Stream 9 are talking about Last Bronx, which again is back in the funny video game news.
Yay! That's super funny. This part's gonna hurt.
So is that the funny video game?
No, the funny video game news is not.
Is that-
the way that funny video game news works? There's two ways that it works.
Yeah.
One is that I show a picture of the video game in the funny video,
Robbie, I feel really strong.
and then I show a picture of one of the newsmakers, which of course are people of newsworthiness. So government people, mostly people in
Is that my
positions
hand?
of great power, but also
hand is
of
that?
some
That's your hand.
notoriety.
I don't
So-
understand.
well,
oh
so we
no,
had-
it's not wearing rings.
We had, of course, one time we had the mayor of Paris was in the funny video game news. Once it was the leader of the opposition party, the Democratic Alliance in South Africa was in the funny video game
Wow. Oh
news.
my
And then they would
God.
say something about, say,
I feel like
something like Frame
person.
Gride or Sonic Generations or
And these are things that you made up,
Can you pull
or
my arm all the way out of my body?
this is the funny video game news. And then there's a different way that we do it with the callers after the funny video game news segment
Ooh,
goes
wow.
after we open up
Hey,
the
I think
phone
this
line.
is juicing the numbers, Robbie. We have more viewers than normal. Oh.
Okay, so funny video game news. Last Bronx is in the funny video game news because EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says that the Japanese version of Last Bronx is subtitled Tokyo Bengaichi, which means something like Tokyo wasteland.
That's funny.
What do you think about how does that find you?
That's funny.
That the advice that I gave you earlier about just being yourself in order to become successful.
I was mostly, when you were saying that, I was trying to picture what it would be like to set up a Feet account.
I just want to, that's actually probably a good idea because I do want to rescind that advice and say that I think in order to be successful, maybe you should pick somebody else who's successful and just try to do exactly what they did.
Try to be somebody else.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
that's
a good idea.
von der
Oh, that's
Leyen,
such a good
who,
idea.
of course,
Yes.
has really come onto the world stage
Thank
like
you so much.
I
I feel so good. I feel like I'm on drugs, Robbie. I feel really
Some would say that Madam
Just a
von der
hug.
Leyen has come onto the stage, onto the highway, like a highway being the stage, the world stage, like a bat out of hell,
You could choke me,
with her determination to get Ukraine the funding they need to
Robbie,
defend
you gotta hug
themselves
me
against the Russian invasion.
Never hug me.
But the joke of the funny video game news is that instead of focusing all of her efforts on bringing us,
Thank you, Ben. That was
on
so
bringing
sweet.
Ukraine the MiGs from Poland or the anti-aircraft defense systems from Britain,
That feels so.
France,
That felt so good.
and also the United States. Because there's a pass-through way you can kind of get around some of the issues that we were having with not worrying about escalation on the United States end. If you are selling, because the United States, of course, we sell batteries of various weapons to France and England and Germany. But if they it's sort of like a taking a step further with Lend-Lease to get them the weapons that they need, but without having to directly say that President Biden or whomever says.
Are you still doing funny video game
Yeah.
news?
So, but instead of the funny video game news is that instead of focusing on that, she's focusing on Last Bronx, on the naming of Last Bronx, which is there's a microphone there. That might be a bit aggressive to hear for viewers in the headphones there.
Oh, let him do it, Robbie.
Because I think most people see Last Bronx and they read the story about Last Bronx and they say to themselves, "Why is this story set in Tokyo called Last Bronx?" And so that's what. Instead of she's worried that like somebody like Vladimir Putin or who's the secretary, who's the defense minister for the Russian the Russians?
Let's say it at the same time.
It's not you got a high forehead guy, high forehead, flat top fella.
Just throw it in the chat if you know the defense minister,
Shoot.
the Russian defense minister. Just throw that right in the chat.
So if you remember him, he's always at the cabinet meetings. It's not Gorbachev. Gorbachev died last year. Was it last year or the year before?
It was a while ago.
He died during he saw the start of the war. But he won't see the end of it, and neither will any of us if we don't if we don't spend less time talking about Last Bronx for the arcade and
so she
more
didn't.
time talking about.
This is funny.
She didn't actually say that. That's a joke that you made.
That's the funny video game.
Whoa, he's in both shots.
Did she actually say that?
She never said it. We just said it that she did say it because that's how we get funny video.
I see. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that for me.
Did you get it? Did you get the joke though?
I did. I do
It's
get
really
the
funny.
joke now that it's.
Next up in funny video game news, it's still Last Bronx.
Oh, again?
Last Bronx is still in the funny video game news, but not for any of the reasons that we listed previously.
I'm curious about that.
It's for the fact that.
Uh-oh, here he is.
Yeah, you guessed it. He's back on funny video games,
God.
folks. It's Michael Gove,
You
Secretary.
hold a lot of attention.
I do, because they say it's because of the there's the Pictic clench.
The Pictic clench.
Yeah, so my ancestors, of course, were the Picts, the people at the northern frontier of the Britannia, the Roman,
Like a jaw clench?
the Roman state of Britannia.
I don't know if I've ever seen you open your mouth.
Hadrian.
Can you open your mouth? Oh my God, you heard that?
Wow, good the Lord.
Oh my God. All
Wow.
the
The
Do it again.
Pictic clench is
way.
real.
All the way, Robbie. Oh my God. Did you guys hear that?
I heard it. I
Yes,
heard that.
I heard it.
It was crazy.
Wow,
Wow.
dang.
That's
All
not
right, let's
good.
do that again.
Yeah, do it one more time though.
Oh.
So it's,
we're breaking. Wait. Are you breaking ground?
so the picnic clenches. Everyone whose ancestors or who currently live north of Hadrian's Wall have the picnic clench. So it's nothing special. We don't need to be focused on it. We're still doing the funny video game news with Secretary of State for
fuck, are you serious?
leveling up housing and communities. Michael Gove takes one look
Wow, that's funny.
at Last Bronx and just says fighting vipers.
Oh my god. Yeah!
So of course
let's
Michael
get the funny
Gove has been mistaken once before. He's been mistaken twice before, and he's mistaken yet
Super
again.
funny. Super funny.
With mistaking Last Bronx for fighting vipers.
That's really funny.
So who sponsored that segment? Like,
That's
let's break this
sponsored-
down.
So, if you can imagine that segment would be sponsored by somebody like Mini Gaming Desktops, so that costs around $800. What we would do is we would have the company that makes the mini game desktops, that'd be your Minis Forums or
I don't know who makes those.
just some random company on Alibaba. They send us a mini gaming desktop in a nice big box, and we unpack the box, and then we show off all the different cords and different ports, display port, HDMI.
You need to come see me for a full session.
You should,
All right,
Robbie.
I got you.
He's
I
good.
got you.
Wow.
But the desktops have to be unboxed, and then once we unbox them, we sell them.
Okay, so you're.
Then between the unboxing and the selling, we show the funny video game news, and we say this was sponsored by the NCUX i7 Minis Forum Miniature Gaming Desktop.
That's
So
the
you're
plan.
explaining to me what a sponsorship is, which I know because I am
Right.
sponsored by literally everybody.
Yes.
All of you have sponsored me before. Everyone
Right.
in this room, everyone who's watching this chat, every company has sponsored me. So I don't actually need you to explain to me what a sponsorship is. I was
Right.
just asking who sponsors that last segment.
That was sponsored by the mini
That's
gaming
sponsored
PC.
by.
Oh, no.
You can imagine we couldn't get the desktop, so we would say
Copper
copper wire with
wire.
plastic
So-
coating. So if you
A
could get
copper
some
wire
copper
company?
wire,
If you know
do you
any.
know anybody with copper wire that is getting rid of a bunch of copper wire? Maybe they burned down a
Sponsor the
house for the copper wire, and they don't want to, but they're too close to the fire. So they give us the copper wire, and then we split the money.
So you don't have any. There's nobody.
These are
Nobody's sponsoring.
No,
well,
I
that's
say
why you
nobody's
guys are here. That's the problem.
Okay.
I would say 90.
If you know how to reach out to these companies, just let us know because we want these. We would really love these sponsors.
So here's the thing, like in order to get sponsored, you have to be something either that people want to
Right.
watch or
person.
something that they are willing to watch
Or
Sex
forced
person.
to watch.
or forced to watch. Those are the three ways. Now, I
So
would
we
say
could
that
force people
this
to watch
So
CGI
feet person,
show kind
sex
of
person, one of the characters from what's the sex movie?
There are so many.
Oh, but
There's
no,
Pornhub,
because
there's-
actually Nicolas
Boston
Cage
Nut
was
and
dead the
Grandma's
whole
Blood,
time.
too.
There's the one at xhamster.com is one of the. They have a lot of porn
You
movies.
guys know what would be awesome?
What's
Is
that?
because think about what's coming up.
Okay.
The Super Bowl. If you guys
Oh,
had
wow.
a Super Bowl commercial
Oh my God,
for
Ben.
EGI 2.
So
Robbie,
if-
we should do that.
So if you're just now joining us, what we're going to try and do before the Super Bowl is raise enough money to
maybe we get.
put fun. Maybe we could do
a
we
hype
could do a
train.
segment. We could do a segment with the Game of the Year awards.
Okay.
For 2005.
Maybe okay, guys. If you're in the chat, if you give us enough bits or bytes, we'll use the money, not to pay me, but to get a Super Bowl commercial.
Right. So what if you
That's
can
a good
recall
idea.
back
Yeah.
in the winter of 2023, there was a video game awards show on
TV?
on TV, and the video game awards show was for 2023. And so what we did was we tried to piggyback on the video game awards show by doing a video game awards show for 2021.
5? 4?
So we
One.
did a previous year,
Oh, I was
but
always
also
confused
gave
what we were,
awards
why
to
that was.
games that had come out before 2021.
Oh, that's what you were doing.
So I think that what we might have
now
done
I get
is,
it.
oh, we did 2022. Thank you for Eraserhead Baby. 2022. So we did 2022 in 2023 in the hopes to goose the numbers so we wouldn't have to do anything dirty or sexy or say any cuss words. But unfortunately, it didn't result in what I believe we should have. Maybe what we could have done is a Super Bowl commercial.
I
That's
think
a good idea.
okay. You seem to be really fixated on like dirty cuss words and stuff.
No.
So I think-
the funny video game news, which I haven't finished, by the way. So Last Bronx, of course, it's been funny video game news because Michael Gove. Wait, We're back to the. Which one are we at?
I don't know.
Mondelion,
let's just go to one close
last
to the
box,
end.
and
You
he
start
said
there.
fighting.
Right.
And
Okay,
so
now-
next up is, of course, Kakuta Kojin
Uh-oh.
Back Alley Brutal.
Right.
And you take one look at the box of this
It's gonna be good. You know
the
it.
box art of this game, and you think that word at the end of Back Alley is going to be brawl,
Yes, of course.
but it's actually brutal.
Back alley.
Back
Brutal.
Alley Brutal.
Oh, interesting.
And
Is that funny?
that's part of what makes it the funny video game news. The other thing
Is
that
that
makes
news?
So the other thing that would make it a funny video game news is that Kakuta Chojin is in the funny video game news because Michael Gove, old Michael Gove, is
said it again.
making another mistake, and he thinks that
What a goof.
Kakuta Chojin Back Alley Brutal is in fact fighting vipers.
Wow.
Robbie, your interests do not mesh. Do you know what I mean?
What is that?
There's
don't
no
know.
synergy.
I don't know who that old guy is.
That's Michael Gove. He
Is
was
Michael-
the former education
yeah,
secretary
he's the
under
former education secretary.
David Cameron. He's
Yes.
one of the architects of the
Of Brexit.
Brexit
Okay.
referendum.
He's from Brexit.
and then
Uh,
go back to the
you
video
remember
game. Can we get
Brexit.
the video game back
Right.
up on the shot?
So that's Kakuta Chojin,
Okay.
which was a
Xbox game.
Xbox exclusive fighting game with slimy, slippery characters.
People know.
Okay,
They're
gotcha.
shiny,
Sound off in the
real-time
chat if
lighting
you know
effects.
about that.
Now, when I came here, I had the explicit goal of trying to understand one single thing that you say. So this is where
We
I
don't-
think we might be able to connect, and
Right.
I might be able to do that. So
Okay,
the video game that you're just describing that has slime in it.
no, it's a slimy person game called Kakuta
Okay,
Chojin.
on the Xbox, you see that. Okay, now how does that have anything? Go back to the Michael Glove.
It's because
Michael,
it's news.
Michael Glove
Dan.
is, of course, in the funny video game news because he
was
said
talking
he
about
took
it.
one look
He
at
talked about the video game.
It's news.
He
It's-
spoke about. So wait.
Yes,
This
yes.
guy spoke about the video game.
He said
No,
fighting-
it's a joke. He didn't say it.
He took one look.
He took one look at Kakuta Chojin and just
he
said
said-
fighting vipers.
I get it.
And exactly.
Is that
so that's
something
funny
that
video
you
game.
look at video games and make comments?
No, he does like Brexit and like an education
Yeah,
secretary.
so he's the head.
in-
So
under James Cam-
flashback to the year 2020, before the whole pandemic.
Okay.
Boris Johnson goes to shore up the electoral majority that he and David Cameron and some of the others, Rishi Sunak, and who was the
wait.
prime minister between Sunak and Johnson?
It was
Theresa May.
Theresa May, of
So
course.
Theresa
we
May
love Theresa
So
May.
they
on
to
this
shore
show.
up the coalition
she's fine.
the electoral coalition that they had
nuts.
created. He went up to the north, past Hadrian's Wall, where the Picts. That's called a callback. We were talking about the Picts
Yeah,
earlier.
that clenched
Where
jaw.
the Picts had been once back in the and I'm getting there. Before the UK, when it was basically. Well, okay. So he had done what nobody since Margaret Thatcher had done, which was create a working class coalition of people.
You know this.
From taking the red belt, which of course we call the blue. There's the blue wall in the United States, which of course is your Michigan, Illinois, Wisconsin.
One note,
etc.
Robbie, you're a little bit preaching
But
to the
in-
choir here. We all kind of know this stuff.
Right, exactly. But
Okay,
in,
so yeah,
in
I mean,
UK, it's like
if they all know it and you guys all know
okay, so
it,
it's the red belt.
That's fine, I don't wanna-
because the colors are switched.
But he's asking why it's funny, I think.
So it's funny because he was when Johnson went up to shore up his coalition up there,
Right.
up in the northern part of England before you. Well, was it? He would say, I want to. What we're going to do is we're going to take some money out of the south, out of the London suburbs and exurbs and urban centers in the south, and put them towards the north to level them up.
that's really cool.
So-
Robbie,
But
thank
that's
you
not.
so
But
much.
that's not why it's funny.
We
but-
are gonna get you.
but that's not
he's
why it's
but
funny.
that's how he became the Secretary
That's
of
just
State for
backwards.
We're
leveling
gonna
up
get you-
housing and communities.
We're gonna get you all fixed up, buddy.
But Ben, it's funny because he was talking about that game Robbie was saying that where is it? That one.
Kakuta Kojin, Back Alley Brutal.
Kojin, Back Alley Brutal. It's funny because he was talking about it, and what he said was,
Right.
do you remember what he said?
Fighting vipers.
Yes,
Fighting
he
Vipers,
said Fighting
which of
Vipers,
course
which
is a
is
game
now-
about
yes,
gangs of kids with BMX bikes hitting each other with the BMX bikes until their clothes fly off.
and that
Alan.
right. So
And,
that's why it's
and,
funny.
and of course the arenas are much tighter. kind of a more intimate space for the kids to hit each other until the clothes fly
Robbie,
off.
I get it. You don't need to
sold.
explain it to me because I
Cool.
fully get it,
Alright,
and
hey,
it's
yeah.
funny.
I mean, if you guys get it,
I get it, and
if you guys
it's
get
funny.
it, and the viewers get it, that's all that matters.
I guess the issue is that the viewers get it, I get it, and Robbie gets it, but we don't have a lot of viewers.
My issue is that I believe I feel like we've been talking for some time now, and I feel like you guys don't get it.
Okay, no, that's fine. How many viewers do we got?
You have 137 viewers, but
Okay,
some of the
what
bigger
is-
Twitch streams
that's
they have
concurrent?
like those are current viewers. Yes.
What's your average unique views per stream?
I don't know how to look that up.
It's
Should be on
between, between like 1 and like 800.
Development works when you're working
Between
on a
one-
fucking.
Yeah,
All right, so it could be 2.
could be, but it could, but it also well, but that let's just
Go
finish
on,
up.
no, finish up the funny stuff.
Yeah, let's finish
go.
up the funny video game news.
This is
because,
like the
Fighting
monologue on
Vipers,
Jay Leno or something.
This is Fighting Vipers is in the funny video. Michael Gove, Fighting Vipers, Kakuta Choji.
Oh!
Exactly.
Yes.
There we
yeah,
go.
no, I
So you
do
get
get
it.
that actually.
That
Michael
is funny.
Glove.
Oh, good. Let's hit the button.
That's awesome.
I'll do the big male
Okay,
celebration because Ben got it.
Great. So the funny video game, final funny video game news, of
Here
course,
we
is
go.
we're
Buckle up.
staying with, of course, Xbox exclusive fighting games with with
Oh,
scantily
shit. What
clad
is it gonna be?
muscle people. They're not.
no.
It wasn't sex. It was just the violence. But
Yeah.
people got into it because it was the time period to do it, and the tournaments were. It was Mortal Kombat was taking a break. Mortal Kombat 4 had been kind of a bust. So there was this era of time when when a lot of people who worked on the violent to work on Mortal Kombat would work on other games for the Xbox.
Right.
Allan and Ben and Cricket. And
and
Kakudu Chojin was one, and Daofeng Fist of the Lotus was another one. And that's in the funny video game news for the reason that I think that a few people could probably guess, which is that none other than
oh my god.
he's back in the news. He just can't
Shut up.
can't get a break. He can't
Oh, Robbie.
get it right.
Stop.
He thinks everything is. The joke is that a guy who's so keyed into the
He should
the
know.
way into the inflect. We were talking about inflection points earlier. The person who's so involved in this inflection point that the Brits took back in 2016, and I would say going on into 2021, 22, 23,
He should know.
is he can't get his facts straight with which video game he's looking, which
He
fighting game he's looking.
And he should
You know
know
what?
better.
This would
He
make
should
a
know
great
better.
clip.
This is funny. Yes. Yeah, we could clip it. Robbie, we could clip this and put this online. People could watch it. That's such a good idea.
Because everybody in the comments will be like, they'll be like,
I think, yeah, you get it.
So let's go open the phone lines and talk to some
okay.
folks and see what funny video game news is out there tonight, out there in the world. Hello, caller, you're on the air with EGI2. Who are you? Where are you calling from? And what's your funny video game news?
Hi, it's Cody from Florida, Cape Coral, Florida.
Cape Coral, Florida. The boys from Cape Coral. You guys are dry. We're wet. How does that feel?
No, yeah, we're wet as heck. I would like to say hi to Ben and Cricket. Cricket, congratulations for Sundance.
Thank you so much. I just love hitting the slopes, and it was just so beautiful being there, hitting the slopes, and getting kissed in the Acura Energy House, and drinking stuff at the White Claw Lounge. I just had a very good time. Thank
I
you.
don't think you're allowed to say that. word.
Robbie, have you ever been kissed in an energy house?
Have I ever been kissed in an energy house? I got kissed once in a Books A Million.
Oh,
And
wow.
the girl kissed me, and she kissed me on the cheek, and then she ran away.
Okay, cool. All right, back to the caller.
And Ben, congratulations for being such a classy teacher and good guy.
Thank you so much for recognizing me and for seeing me, and I hope that I can pay you back by seeing you someday.
And Cody, I don't know if you have one of those televisions that you wear glasses for, and so you can see like all the different. If you had a special television that had.
Talking about
If
3D
the screen
3D
was,
display?
how I'm gonna get there. If the screen was softer and also could transmit more than just the light from the diodes, you would see waves of energy pumped from these people towards the screen, so you get these.
So,
weird
are you
little
talking about those 3D televisions that they were trying to sell, like in the early, like in 2010?
right, but in
they
the
had
2002
television.
to 2011 period. But we're actually not talking about that. We're more talking about just some like a light press of a kind of like a kind of not quite a thrust, but just a gentle.
I have no
just a
idea.
gentle,
I have no idea what you're
press
talking about.
against the scrim of the
talking about-
surface of the television.
You're talking about a lenticular display on a television?
I'm talking about the energy that Ben and Cricket are emanating, the success, the energy,
Talking
the
about static?
the dynamism of these people is more than just electricity being transmitted
You're talking
through
about
wires into people's
You're
homes.
talking about static electricity on a cathode tube?
No, I'm talking about like
old
the
TV
screen of the TV
tube?
turning into like a skin that is like pushing out, like it's breathing, or like really having a
Yeah.
tough time like keeping itself together.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So I'm watching you guys on the Microsoft browser. It's like not Google Chrome, it's
Edge.
the Microsoft browser.
Oh, I don't think it does that then.
Edge?
Xbox.
I have funny video game news.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Let's hear it.
Yay. Uh-oh.
Okay, I'm from Florida. I'm from Florida, right?
Yes, correct.
So the first slide. Okay, so the first slide is the choose your stage. It's like a choose your stage, right?
From what game?
Oh, let's say Sonic the Fighters. It's like a choose your stage from Sonic the Fighters.
So this is specifically a situation. So you're playing a home version of the game that allows you to select the stage, because in Sonic the Fighters, I'm pretty sure
yeah.
that the stages are assigned
Are we talking like
by the machine.
Magic Mike? No, what's that called? Mega Man 2? You
Yeah,
can
sure.
select stage selection?
Sure, like yeah, because I'm pretty sure it's
Mhm.
unless I'm incorrect. Someone in the chat wants to say that you can choose your stage in Sonic the Fighters. I'm pretty sure most of those AM2 games you can't select.
Okay,
your
let's call
stage
it Guilty
prior.
Gear. Let's call it Tekken. So just choose your
Tekken
stage.
allows you to do it.
Yeah, Tekken wants you to choose your stage.
All right.
Okay,
knock it out of the
then-
park.
so-
And that's a multi-layered response there, because in Central and South Florida is where all the baseball teams go to do their winter training. So there's lots
Spring
of baseball
training.
parks.
Spring
so
training.
knocking it out of the park is ubiquitous.
So any choose your stage screen, and then the next one is Ron
Specifically the Mega
DeSantis.
Man 2 one.
Probably. So choose your stage, and then Ron DeSantis is like,
Uh-oh.
stand your ground. Stand your ground.
Choose your stage. Stand your
Stand your ground.
So who's
Ron
Because
saying?
the
But
stand
who's
your ground
saying?
law, the stand your ground law is like that I can defend myself
So
on
he-
whatever stage. If it's my stage, then I stand my ground and I can
So
shoot you.
he's saying so DeSantis. He's saying stand your ground. Who's he saying it to?
Choose your stage.
The opponent, the visitor.
So he wants to go back
I
and
choose my
replay the same
stage. I choose my stage, and the visitor. I get to stand my ground against the opponent.
Ron.
So you're saying that he's one of the mini boss. He's one of the boss. He's one of the robot.
No, I'm the
masters.
boss. It's my house. I'm the boss, and then the opponent, I can just defeat them.
Choose your stage. Stand your ground. It sounds like a
Stand
joke.
your ground. Choose your stage.
And he's talking about a game. He's
No,
talking about a
they
game.
choose my stage, and I get to stand my ground against that.
But I'm saying what I want to know is in the logic of what you're saying in the funny video game news is that he's at the end of the stage for Mega Man, making Ron DeSantis one of the robot masters.
No, Ron DeSantis is my robot master.
So I want to pitch Cody from the Cody from Cape Coral. I'm going to pitch this to you, and you can take it or leave it.
Okay.
You got your, let's say it's Mega Man 2 stage. What's one of the
Okay.
Airman? Is he one of them?
Guts
Yeah.
Man.
Airman's
I don't
one of them.
Airman.
Woodman, Metalman.
Yeah. So Airman. Let's just say Airman. So you've got the cursor over Airman. And
Wait, do I low-key know
Is
more
that
about
my
video
house?
games than Robbie?
Is that my house?
well, but let me finish. Is that you got the cursor over Airman, and you say Mega Man 2 is in the news,
Okay.
and then you go to a picture of Governor DeSantis, and he's saying the code for getting red eye from Last Bronx.
Oh shit.
Because Rahul Gandhi was saying the code for Last Bronx.
Yes.
Fuck me, dude.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I cursed.
That's okay. Fuck yeah. Ooh, ooh.
Let's play it.
I'm so sorry, Robbie.
Keep going. The baseball quote. Let's play the field clean, boys. That's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
Let's play the field clean, boys. So the joke then would be that Ron DeSantis had also done similar to what Michael Gove had done, which isn't far off the mark there, because at least in terms of the political ideologies in the West, they are probably closer to each other, to Michael Gove and Ron DeSantis than Ron DeSantis and Rahul Gandhi, since Rahul Gandhi is on the left-hand side of the political
in my entire
spectrum.
state, you do not need a license to conceal carry, and that's like a whole thing. So.
Hey, Cody.
Yeah.
Cody from Florida. I just want to kind of break down what just happened on like a big picture level. Is you called in with a joke, and Robbie actually, it's in the industry we call it punching up.
Mm-hmm.
He punched up your joke and made it such a funny joke. So that's like a really big honor. Like that happens to very few people. So that's something you can take with you, take that home with you. You can tell your grandkids about that, and you can die knowing that Robbie from EGI2 punched up one of your jokes and made it super fun.
Oh man, that's sick.
Cody, I can tell by your voice that you are a beta, that you are somewhere beneath the alpha range.
He's from Cape Coral.
Check out my website. Get in touch with me. We can get those T levels going through the roof like crazy.
That's the name of the website?
No.
Ben, do you have a card? Because I just might want to check out.
I don't have a card because it's not 20 years ago.
Got it.
I just say websites.
I mean, I will
and
take a
people go
supplement.
there.
I'll take a supplement. I'll take a supplement.
Cool. All right,
Great.
man. Yeah. So just to find me, go to any website, click the lower
But
right. That's me.
just to put a bit of a hat on, like a little hat, a little tight hat on the thing that we did. That's funny. Thank you for your call, Cody from Cape Coral. Let's go to our next.
I'll reach out, Ben.
Thanks, man.
What
Hey, Cody. I love you, man. I love you, Cody. Is he still there?
No, they hung up.
Caller, you're on the air with EGI2. Twitch.tv/EGI_2 stream 9. Who are you? Where are you calling from? And what's your funny video game news?
Robbie, I just want to point out you didn't know the bosses for Mega Man
Not
2,
by
but I did.
Right.
Is that true? Wait.
Because
Do I know more?
Because this is what happened.
So confused.
Is that I have to focus almost entirely on video games between 2002 and 2011. It's sort of like when you have one of those where do you put them?
What?
Where do you put them?
Robbie has a lot to focus on. He's
there's a
running the
caller.
show.
Whoa, this caller's not from.
This is
This,
Joe.
this,
Here.
is,
our
this
is
sounds
friend
like
of
Joe
the show,
Botnick
Joe,
from UK. Joe Botnick, what
UK
is
friend
it?
of the show. Up
Bookshelf.
late, up late.
So it's sort of like if you have a bookshelf, you have a limited amount of slots on the bookshelf. So to get a big, so I got a big thick book that says 2002 to 2011, but to fit it onto the bookshelf, I had to cut out like 1985, 1986. So there's big gaps of time until of course they would release the Mega Man collections later for the Nintendo Switch, which I bought, and this is true, and this is
That's
breaking
why.
news. I bought the Mega Man collections 1 and 2 for the Nintendo Switch for $5.99 each, having spent about 10 hours playing each of those games, each of those collections of games, which of course is almost 11 in total.
So Robbie does know more about video games, Ben.
But-
More than
Okay.
you.
All right.
But
There's
what
just
the
a reason
point
he
is
didn't
that-
say
that
that.
right.
So $12 for purchasing those two collections of Mega Man games. That's Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 20 hours. 12 divided by 20 is... Wait, is it 12? 20 divided by... Is it 12 divided by 20 or
Does
20
the caller
divided by
know
12?
what 12 divided by 20 is?
I'm sorry, I don't. I'm not very math-minded.
I think
Are
it's
you
around...
hearing
got
this
too much
caller's
tea
voice?
in
It
that.
doesn't sound like our voice, and we're all talking when this caller's voice sounds more beautiful than anything I've ever heard. What
It's
is
a beautiful
this?
voice. It's Joe
Oh, thank you,
Botnick from
Cricket.
UK.
He's friend of the show,
give
Joe.
it a round,
From
everyone in
where?
the chat, give a round of applause to Joe. He's
He's
back.
from the UC.
So he knows about the picks.
I'm
He
from
knows
the
about Hadrian's Wall. He knows about all of the
Let
all
him
the stuff
talk.
that we're talking.
Let him
I'm
talk.
gonna
What
let him
about
talk.
Michael
Don't yell
Gove?
at me.
Okay, I don't want to cause any tension in the group.
Oh my god, no, everything you say is just so beautiful. Like it sound like I can understand it, but it doesn't sound like anything I've ever heard before.
Thank you so much. Well, I'm happy that you and Ben are here, and I think we're talking about how to make EGI2 successful. And
Yes, we are.
I mean, just a short while ago, we had more viewers concurrently than I've ever seen. So I think the secret is Ben and Cricket. I think let's keep these guys around. You know.
Oh my God, I am freaking out. First of all, thank you so much, Color, for understanding that Ben and I are bringing a lot to the show that was not there
But we
before.
also showed
No,
Steamboat Willie, so I don't know if
And
we
I'm
can
also
really.
freaking out
Oh,
because I
that's true.
drank Excedrin before the show.
Okay, but I also want to freak out a little bit because that, like, again, just everything you're saying sounds so good. And I think maybe if you all sounded more like this person, maybe the show would be a little bit more successful because it's just like it's like glass bells. It's like I never knew the English language could sound like this. How did you learn to talk like that?
I was born in England, which I think is the main thing. But anyone could learn it if you just come over here and you could spend some time.
It is quite beautiful, actually. now
Does
that-
everybody
born in
where
England.
you live talk like that?
You don't know about English?
Yeah,
This is-
Do you know about other sound?
this is just an
people-
accent.
sound
This is an
people?
No,
accent.
I mean I knew that there were
You-
like other languages that I couldn't understand, but I've
Cricket-
never heard
Cricket,
anybody.
you have an accent
Too.
to Joe.
No.
Yeah, to
No,
Joe.
no.
To Joe.
No.
Joe, you sound. You have an you have a
Joe,
American
can you
accent.
let us know what cricket sounds like to you right
Maybe
now?
do a
Yeah,
cricket
do a
voice.
cricket impression, Joe.
You want me to do a cricket? Cricket sounds great.
No,
let me
you
try it.
do
Hang
Do
the
the
on.
voice. Do the
Yeah.
voice.
Okay.
Because I want to know what it sounds like.
Cricket's kind of like this, and I love Joe's voice, and it's so beautiful, and I want to hear more of Joe's voice, and I love ducks and stuff and teeth, and I'm Cricket, and this is what Cricket sounds like, and I'm on EGI2.
That's
wow.
pretty good.
Low key, better than
Better
the
than
real
the real,
thing.
better than the real thing.
No, you know
and
what? I'm
thank
gonna be
you.
the first one to admit it. That was better than me. This
And
is
so if I were to say,
Thank you so much.
if I were to go, so Joe, if I'm hearing what you're saying correctly and what Cricket is saying, and Ben and Allan, if we were to say start the funny video game news with good evening, and that is tonight the last Bronx night, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was.
It was like there was two of me on the stream.
offensive,
Honestly,
Robbie.
that was crazy.
Yeah.
Low-key.
yeah, Robbie. You're not supposed to talk the
Yeah,
way that
you
other
shouldn't
people
do that.
talk.
Okay,
honestly.
Joe, what's the funny video game news from the UK? And don't hold back because that's the town. That place has that. If there's one place that is the source of the best funny video game news that we've had here on EGI2, it's your home country, England.
Yep. We've had a lot of heavy hitters on.
And there's multiple countries in the UK. Let's not forget that.
There's several. I'm gonna let's go for it though. I'm gonna say so if an image pops up on the screen and it's the original Rayman from 1995.
Okay.
And we've been hearing a lot about Rayman from recently ousted MP for Mid Bedfordshire, Nadine Dorries.
Okay.
Recently
Yes,
ousted
yes,
Conservative
I get
MP.
it.
Yep.
And she's saying
Here it comes.
Well, why did she
Rayman
get?
won.
Hold on.
Before, I want to say, let's just
Sure.
just so we're all clear on the minister. Why was she defenestrated like she was?
What does defenestrate mean?
Throw
It's
him
like
out a window.
defrocking.
What?
she was defrocked. People just didn't like her. She wasn't present in the House of Commons very often, and people didn't like her, and she wasn't very good. So she was ousted. There was an early election, and she was booted out.
Okay, I have
And it
two
was a
things to
happy
say.
day.
One is
Yeah.
this word oust. I just think that's so beautiful.
Oh, I was
I've
gonna
never
say
heard
quite
that word
the
before.
opposite. I think
Oust.
ousted troubles me to no end.
Oust.
When I hear that word, I feel like I'm it's like if I was getting on a bus and the bus driver said oust, I would not get on that bus.
I like when
We're
Joe
out.
said booted.
But
that was good.
the second thing I wanted to point out is that you just brought up that this person was ousted, which again is such a beautiful word. We don't have that word where I come from, but I think it's really beautiful that your people
we
have
do.
that word.
I think we have that.
When you were saying that she was ousted for not being present in the House of Commons, that is sort of what it feels like to be in a room with Robbie, where it's just like you're not present in the House of Commons. And I do feel like that is maybe why
We love you, man.
it's kind of harder for the show to attract sponsors and stuff like that, because it is just about being
love you, buddy.
present. Anyway, I want to hear
People kind
Joe
of feeling
talk more.
ousted.
So maybe what the issue that I'm having is that the minister is similar to what I have, which is that I have to live in 3 different places at once, Joe. which is the past, which is where all the the moral tales and the fables and things that come into the story. I try to teach everybody the ministry that we try to run here.
You can tell a story from the present or the future.
It's told from the past because you don't know your history. You don't know nothing.
I understand why some stories are from the past, but some are from the present.
And then there's the present, which is the now, which is happening, which is very confusing because of the waves of energy coming from this side of the room, and it's pushing against me, it's pushing against Allan, and it's almost like
a hand on my chest.
Extremely powerful.
It's almost like the air around you is hardening and like if you ever happen where you go
air hardens?
If you go into the deep dark water at night and it's cold and you come out and all of a sudden you're all pointy.
When I go into water, it immediately gets warm because my molecules align with the molecules of the water because we're actually 99% water. And so if you're in touch with yourself, then water's never cold.
That's so fucking awesome. Cricket.
And then that's the present. And then the future is the future is what is the future?
The future is what
stuff that hasn't happened yet.
Right.
Yes.
So
oh my God! I was gonna say that, but
future
you
was
said it.
about?
So can you say that again? Because I just love listening to you talk.
The future is stuff that hasn't happened yet.
Oh my God! You could just say anything, and I would be like, "That's it. That's
All
it."
right.
So true.
So we've had.
Okay, this is great because everyone around me thinks I sound really normal. So this is why I call into
So
American
fucked
shows
up. Don't hang
because
out
I
with
need
those
the attention
people.
of
Yeah, you
people
gotta
telling me
hang
I
out with
sound
more with Americans and Canadians and
Don't hang around people that don't big you up. You know
people
what I'm
from
saying?
like the Cayman
Wait.
Islands.
Ben.
Are you're saying that everyone around you sounds exactly like you?
Everyone's not
just an
a
accent.
little
What
bit
about-
like me. I mean,
It's an accent.
I'm very well spoken. So.
Right.
Yeah. So if I
if
were
I were
to
the- if I
go
were-
there, I could talk to literally anyone on the street, and they would
But
sound.
you can't go there because it's across the water and we can't do that.
You would
Oh.
have to catch a boat or a plane. I don't.
Wait, what?
It's quite a voyage.
What is the funny video game news you were saying? You
Yeah.
said
So
something
we're
very
about
funny.
to get to the funny video game news.
I love a joke.
I did. What was it? So okay. So I'm just gonna start from the beginning because I lost my place.
I can hear you.
So it's about Rayman, the original 1996 Rayman.
Who's
so
the minister
image
from?
of Rayman pops up on the screen, and then in the news we've had Nadine Dorries, the recently ousted Conservative MP from Mid Bedfordshire,
Right.
and she says Rayman has 6 beautiful stages, and I rush through them as quickly as possible, and I don't rescue any of the Electoons in the cages because I'm trying to set a new record.
Oh my God.
She's a speedrunner.
That's funny.
She's a speedrunner.
Robbie,
Nadine
that's
Dorries
fu- Robbie,
is
that's
she's
funny.
speedrunning, and she sets a new world record. That's the news.
Robbie, that's funny.
Here-
That was
I-
perfect. That was
can I-
Okay,
that was-
that's
I
the first
checked all the
joke that I've
boxes.
gotten
All right.
all day.
That was
Hold
checked
on,
on the
hold
button.
on,
Can
hold
I
on
hit
a
the button? I want to hit the
goddamn
button.
I'm not hitting the button. Joe, I'm gonna
Why?
pitch you something.
Oh.
That's okay. I'm open to suggestions.
Okay.
Rayman, you got the Rayman, and it's say one of those like a nice screenshot like what they used in the old magazines with the big mosquito character.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you go to Nadine Dorries,
hmm
and she says Rayman has 6 stages. So Rayman has 6 beautiful stages,
Yes.
and I'm stuck in what's the town?
She's stuck in where she was ousted from?
Yeah.
Mid Bedfordshire.
Rayman's got 6 beautiful stages, and here I am,
Here I am
stuck in Midtown, New Bedfordshire.
Bedfordshire.
Mid Bedford.
That is funny video game news.
And that's
Mid-Bedfordshire.
funny video.
Very funny video game news.
Oh
Wait,
my
before
God.
you go, Joe.
That's so funny.
Before you go,
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, we all know you're the reason Wham City Comedy broke up, but I wanted to say that we forgive you and we love
Yep.
you for your support, and just please never stop calling in for Robbie and helping Robbie. So thank you
I
so
won't,
much,
and
man.
I am really sorry, and thank you
Of course.
because it
Joe, of
eats
course,
away at me.
stays up late or gets up early to be part of the show, to bring us the funny video game news from across the lake.
Yes.
Joe-
Yeah.
Joe,
So the lake being the Atlantic Ocean. That's not the funny
that the
video
Great
game.
Lake?
Joe,
That's
when you
just
talk-
what they call the ocean.
When
over
you
there.
talk, it sounds like the most beautiful bird in the world holding a crystal bell in its mouth as it flies across a mountain meadow.
Kind of like Colibri.
I feel the same listening to Cricket's voice, honestly. So we're
thank
two
you
peas
so
in
much.
the pot.
Except Colibri, of course, ran off of the old Genesis Mega Drive sound chip, so it probably wouldn't sound quite as clear, but it could look like the bird you were just talking about.
Isn't Colibri a font?
No, it's a little hummingbird shoot 'em up game for the 32X.
There's a game where you shoot hummingbirds?
No, you're kind of just spitting at like dragonflies.
No, it's called Little Bird Killer. That game, I have it.
What?
I do it.
You
Normal.
kill
Normal.
birds?
It's a
Break-
normal.
We're getting
Breaking
ready.
news,
We're getting
Wait, is
breaking
this-
news.
breaking news.
We're getting a piss raid. We're getting raided.
We've been
from
rated
Piss.
by Piss. So big thank
Hello,
you to
Piss.
Piss for rating us.
And
That's
thank
so
you
sweet.
for Joe
Thank you,
Botnick.
Joe. Thank you,
Hats
Piss.
off. The Lend-Lease program. I'll put my foot down and I'll say the Lend-Lease program was the right thing to do, because if we hadn't lent and leased all those tanks and bombers and ships to the Brits,
If you're just joining
then
us
Joe
from Piss,
then Joe may have his family could have been bombed to smithereens in the Blitz.
I
that
love
is
you,
so
Joe.
sweet. We love you. Thank
We
you
do
so
appreciate
much.
that
Thank
over
you.
here. Thank
Kiss
you very
the
much, guys.
ground where
Thanks a
you
lot.
are and think of me.
Thank you.
And
Okay.
Piss viewers,
will
I
do
have a
that.
little
Thank
something
you.
for you as well. These are pictures of Robbie that my computer has been making. It's just a software that upreses videos I have, and I had this dream about me in a hot tub and my friend Robbie in a hot tub. And when I woke up, my de-upresing AI software had been making these beautiful images. And it reminded me so much of why Twitch is interesting, because recently Twitch changed its policy on adult content and hot tub content. So I think this is just sort of an idea I had at night in my bed for how to goose the numbers and make the EGI2 better. So this is EGI2. And so just if you're joining us for the first time, if you have no idea what this is the kind of content we hope to be bringing you in the near future. If we can get our hands on a real hot tub, that would be quite great. And look how strong Robbie is, and this is him without hair, which I think could be kind of an interesting look. But he is quite strong, and the real Robbie is strong as well. So maybe you could show off some of that.
This
This is the content I'm here for.
Those are his. Oh, thank you, Joe.
And of course,
Joe,
I am still here.
I love you.
You
Joe,
can hang up.
thank you,
Thank you, Joe.
for sounding so beautiful.
Okay, sorry.
And thank you for staying
I
with
can-
us during that as the piss raids. And of course, we also do video game
It's okay,
news
man.
from the period between 2002 and 2011, and also some of the other years not in between, because that would just be what I just said. So the one on the outside of the bracket.
You're doing great, man.
In addition to the funny video game news, we do have a Game of the Year awards to get to,
Oh, okay.
Alan.
Okay, well, okay. I would do my special report too.
Okay, let's do this. Well, let's do the Game of the Year awards, because I do think people are excited to EGI2 to finally be revealing its 2005 Game of the Year awards. James, play the 2005. We did the 2005 Game of the Year awards, but I think that a lot of people are going to stick around for the surprises that we have in store for you. And of course, EGI2's 2005 Game of the Year goes to Phantom Dust.
Oh wow! And what is that? Oh wow!
Cool.
So congratulations to Phantom Dust, and that was our 2005 Game of the Year awards. And now we'll take it away, Alan, for Alan's special report.
Okay, let me get set up. So tonight, hold on, let me get this up here. Good.
And,
Okay.
and remind us, Alan, what is your special report? What's the special report about?
I can hear you. Yes, Robbie, it is me.
Alan's
Special
on the street.
Allan Resnick on the street. I have a special report that Robbie asked me to do about Pandora's Tower, a hidden gem for the Nintendo Wii. So I sent James a trailer for this. So this is the original game trailer for Pandora's Tower on the Nintendo Wii. So we can just play that right now. Can you cut to me? Can you cut to me? That wasn't the one I sent. There should be. Where did you get that? Can you? There's one. It should be called Pandora's Tower Trailer .mov. Can you play that? Shoot. What's going on? Oh, God. How do I? Okay. Let's cut to me. Cut to me. That's not the. That's not what I. Let me just. Okay. You can just Google it. Don't do it now, but later you can go on YouTube and type in Pandora's Tower.
What do I Google to get the thing that did just come up?
I don't know what that was.
What can I Google to get that?
Can you play it again? What was that? Because I didn't. That's not the one I said.
It could be maybe. Is there a confusion? Perhaps it could be any of the Operation Rainfall games.
If you wanted to see that, I guess I'm just going to reverse engineer how I would guess you would find that. That would be called that's kind of like a Spider-Man kiss, like a side, like upside down side tonguing.
Sort of like a San Francisco versus Kansas City tongue
match.
So just sound up in the chat if you Ben's interested in that. If you know how we could reverse engineer that video and find that. James, where did you get that? Okay. I'm just going to do the report. And so anyways, if you want to see the real trailer, I don't know what that was, go to Pandora's Tower.
Okay, Pandora's Tower, of course, is the action RPG that almost didn't make it to the United States.
It's all in my special report, so I'm just going to read through this. Back in the golden age of the Nintendo Wii, there was a little game known as Pandora's Tower. So I do have a slideshow for that. It's kind of hard. I'll try to hold both. Pandora's Tower. No, that's not right. There it is. No, wait. Shoot. Oh no. Crap. What's going on? I don't know what's happening. I'm so sorry, Robbie. Pandora's Tower is an action RPG that blends gameplay elements seamlessly. You take the role of Arison. I think, what the heck is going on with my iPad? A brave warrior's mission to save his beloved Eliana. No, that's another Spider-Man kiss. Shoot. There's a oh no, this was the right one. Yeah, Pandora's Tower. I don't know what the hell is going on.
And that,
sorry
of course,
about that,
is the cover of Pandora's Tower. If you got a special edition if you were able to pre-order it from GameStop back in, what was the year again, Alan?
Oh, the year was, I have that here. I swear to God I do. What was the Wii? Something's up with my iPad, I think. Hold on. No, that was right, because it had the image on it. Okay. Pandora's Tower. This is Pandora's Tower. Oh, shoot. No, that's just... I don't... There's something is up. Something is really up. Okay, let's talk about fun factor. Fun factor. The game elevates... Fun factor. Engage in combat. Combat in Pandora's Tower. Arison's chain weapons attack. Traverse the environment. The motion controls add an immersive. Okay, shit. God, fuck me. God damn it. Fuck. I don't mean to curse. I think you can curse on Twitch.
You can't, but it's EGI2. We keep the lake clean.
Robbie, I don't know. Can we play the...
We don't put logs in the lake, Alan.
Alan, if you send me all those pics, I can probably figure out.
I truly don't know how to send this to you. I'm trying really hard to get this to work. Oh my God.
And just let's everybody just take a deep breath. We're under everyone's under a lot of stress right now. Let's remember to keep the lake clean. Don't put any logs in the lake.
Okay. While Pandora's Tower may not have made headlines for the Wii... okay, this is so wrong. EGI... Okay, these are reviews. Critical acclaim. EGI noted that the game's solid gameplay and mechanics and emotional narratives... they gave it a respectable... I don't even have a score. GameSpot appreciated the unique blend of action, RPG, and time management elements. No, is this... No, I don't remember that being in the game. Here we go. This one's right. Reviewers praised the deep...
to your iPad, and I don't
shit!
understand.
Oh fuck me! That's no. Here we go. Pandora's Tower may not have achieved commercial success.
Rattleman is giving subs to the community.
Thank you so much.
We're keeping the lake clean. We're trying not to put logs in the lake, so we're gonna keep going with the Pandora's Tower special report from EGI special correspondent Allan Resnick.
Okay, it's a race against time. You explore the 13 diverse towers. You must manage your time carefully. The longer you take, the further Elenia's transformation. Oh, that one's kind of sideways. Wait, shoot. No, this is so. Oh, there it is. Is that from the game? No, that's not the game.
Send that one. Can you send that one to
So
me?
this is
I'm
like
gonna
a
try to
chain
airdrop
whip.
it.
This is
Can you
like
turn on
Alan,
air-
if you could just talk a little bit about the mechanics. Is this a game
Well,
where you whip
in that
a
one.
chain around, you run around
Yes,
in a big
exact-
tower,
yes,
and
exactly.
you're whipping
So
the chain? So
Can you
similar
imagine? Just
to,
yes. Imagine this special report is you're whipping a chain around. Oh, there it is. No, this is the right one.
So there it is. And
That's Eliana. Am I saying that right? It's a unique labyrinth. You fill a labyrinth filled with puzzles, and that's the same trail. I don't know how my trailer got messed up. There, I think that is right. What was I saying? Oh, Eliana's transformation progresses, adding tension to the strategy of your I think no, that's not right. God, I'm so sorry, Robbie. Are you mad?
I mean, what I'd like to know more about Alan is, of course, the people,
wait,
of
this-
course,
I think this
really
is from the game.
appreciated the unique play mechanics and the setting and the storyline. But one of the things that I do believe people say held the game back was camera control.
Yes.
And
I have that in here.
What seemed like an unintuitive use of the Wii remote as your method of
Yeah, I have the Wii remote. This is the Wii
Right.
remotes. This was supposed to be about the motion controls. I don't know why it's doing this weird kissing stuff.
and Operation Rainfall, which of course was the
Is that-
it was a from the ground up grassroots movement to
I don't
get
know.
Last Story, Xenoblade Chronicles, and Pandora's Tower to the United States.
Yes, it earned a dedicated fan base, engaging gameplay, emotional storytelling, and memorable characters. I think these are the wrong characters. Oh, that is them. Is that? I didn't play the game. I just kind of researched it. Is that the right character? Okay. There's.
You should take it to an Apple store.
Oh yeah, I think. Oh shoot, there is something wrong with my iPad. I do apologize. Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Shoot. God damn it. I'm gonna have to go to the Apple Genius. Fuck me. Can you actually? I think. Let me airdrop you the right trailer. I have that.
Okay, so we do have the right trailer for Pandora's Tower. Maybe we could at least get the trailer in there, and then we could get the conversation going.
James,
when we
put
go
your
to the-
computer on
phone
airdrop.
line.
Airdrop is on. Okay. There we go. Did you get it? Okay, just so to play that, this is Pandora's Tower. This is a Wii game. So this is a game for Nintendo Wii. There's kind of a hidden. It is a bit of a hidden gem, I think, but it was a good game. So that's the right one. Thank you, James. All right, thank you.
Let's go ahead and go to the phone lines and see what people are saying about Pandora's Tower for the
damn it.
Nintendo Wii. And let's not focus as much on the report for Pandora's Tower. We can talk about any of the Operation Rainfall games. Caller, you're on the air with EGI2. What are your thoughts on Pandora's Tower, Operation Rainfall, Xenoblade Chronicles, and of course, The Last Story?
Well, my thoughts on Pandora's Tower, it seemed like a really interesting game. I'm wondering if those clips that Alan showed, are those part of the game?
I did add a bunch of gameplay footage that I downloaded. I couldn't capture the original game because I don't have a Wii anymore, and I wouldn't have been able to capture it. So I downloaded footage. There was some in there, I think. I don't know. Something. I'm sorry. Apologies. Some of the clips weren't playing correct. There's something a little wrong with my. Do you have to? There's some. No, that's not right. Sorry about that.
So,
Shoot.
caller, first of all, who are you? Where are you calling from? Oh, it's Kat from Ithaca.
Yeah. it's
And
Kat
Ithaca is
from
gorgeous.
Ithaca.
Shout out.
Ithaca is gorgeous.
Ithaca
right.
is gorgeous, and so is.
Gorgeous.
I do think that most people will agree that so is Pandora's Tower, Alan.
Yes, Pandora's Tower is gorgeous as well.
Yeah, it did seem like that based on Alan's special report.
It's like the Ithaca of games.
And it's sort of the woman's heart's all messed up.
Whose heart?
It's on the outside of her
Oh.
body,
Right.
and I believe
Oh.
to put it back in,
Eliana.
you must climb the tower and whip the Wii remote around until you get and you get
I
know
said
it's like
that.
the
I
thing
said
where
that.
yeah, so you whip the remote and sometimes it hits an enemy and sometimes it hits a pole and then you get flung up onto another level. Another
Wow.
another what is it called? What's that?
Nouveau. That's kind of another word for level.
Whoa. I haven't even heard that before. Thank you, Cricket.
Caller, while we have you on the air, what are your thoughts on Operation Rainfall, and are we missing are we missing other opportunities to bring over often overlooked
Oh, wait.
Wii games, Sega Saturn games, PlayStation games, Wonder Swan, Game Gear. What are we? Why limit ourselves to one write-in campaign when we could? Could we write in more?
I think you absolutely can write in more. I haven't played Operation Rainfall.
Well,
myself,
Operation
but I do
Rainfall
like
was the name of the
Rain.
campaign.
Okay.
So it was
in
Operation Rainfall
Pandora's
was a group of people that did something called Operation Rainfall to get Xenoblade Chronicles, Pandora's Tower, and the last story over from Japan.
I'm sorry, can I just interrupt y'all really briefly? Kat, were you listening when the last caller called, when Joe called?
I was listening.
Joe just had this really beautiful way of talking, and I was wondering, like, I'm really wanting to listen to what you say, but I'm having a hard time, and I was wondering maybe if you could try talking the way that Joe talked.
Or if you could sing everything you say.
Yeah, just like one of those.
I don't know if I can really do either of those things.
What about rap? Can you rap?
A rap, yes.
It's like
of
a
course.
really fast rhyming poem.
Right. Okay. Well, I need like a beat.
Yeah.
I think.
Ben, can you? Are you a beat? You're a beat man.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Here are my thoughts about Operation Rainfall. I like rain, and something. It's pretty small. All right,
Sorry, I almost passed out doing that.
You were great.
And I'm not kidding.
Kat, you were sounding really good though. I think maybe something like that. Like you didn't ask for creative notes, but I am going to give them to you. And I think either thinking about like talking a little bit more like Joe, or maybe rapping everything you say, and you will be getting like a lot more sponsorships.
Good note. Yeah, if you need more
That's
sponsorships,
so great.
Scott, listen to Cricket.
And if you are looking for ways to sponsor EGI2, you can.
Robbie, can I have this idea I've been cooking up while I've been sitting
let's
for
hear
a
it.
while. Can we chat about it? Okay,
Absolutely.
so
Kat,
you guys,
do you mind staying on the phone? Because I'd love to hear your thoughts about what Ben's about to say.
yeah. Honestly, I'd love that. And Kat, you can just talk however you want. You don't have to feel pressured.
No, I mean you can talk however you want. It's just that the way some people talk gets them sponsors.
And the way that some people talk is rapping.
Yes.
Okay, so think about this. How many people do we have concurrence?
Like 7 billion.
160, 154.
Oh, on the- I
That's
see.
great. That's great.
Is
Okay,
that
okay.
good?
Everybody stay and nobody leave for a second because this involves you guys.
Okay.
I'll tell you
So-
if it changes.
Think about this. And this is because I know you're not going to. No, first of all, I want you to just stop doing the show.
Absolutely.
fully and go to do something. Work at a kennel like we talked about.
100%. Brand new dog. New dog, no one's seen.
Or just somewhere else or just anything. But I kind of know that you're probably never going to do that. So I might as well just help you. So think about this. Everybody in chat probably think about how many cousins people have.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
So yeah. So
So
everyone in chat. Here's my
Well,
guess.
if you think about it this way, Ben, if there's 7 billion people on the Earth, you said concurrently, and that got me to thinking about the totality of the human race.
Okay.
Everybody's got cousins.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay, so and that's crazy because if there's 7 billion people, there's even more than 7 billion cousins.
That's what I'm trying to say.
That's
like 28
insane
billion
to think
people.
about. There's got to be at least 50 billion cousins. But anyway, so if you think about all the cousins of, so everybody in the chat has a cousin. Think about it.
Vague Plague has 27 cousins.
This is what I'm saying. So everybody in the chat,
God
out of all
almighty.
your cousins, you have one cousin that will like this show, and I guarantee you have one cousin that will like this show. Tell them about the show. Have them tune in for next week's show. It'll be called The Cousin Show. And it'll be Welcome Cousins. Thank you so
Cousin,
much
a
for
cousin
showing up.
episode.
Yes.
That's
You've
a good idea.
you've doubled the numbers.
Double numbers.
Wow,
but
that's such a good idea.
and we
Currently,
could
the
say-
numbers
and
are the same.
So
no
we could do
change.
cousin
No change.
EGI2.
Well, not yet. This would be for the next
Next
one, Robbie.
episode,
So
tell your
everybody
cousin.
in the chat, tell your cousin, that one cousin you're thinking about, because you all have that one cousin that will love this guy.
Right.
Tell them about the show. Have them come next week. Be like, hey, we'll do it together as like a family. And then the whole show will be about, hey, welcome cousins. Welcome to EGI.
And here, welcome to EGI2.
Thank you so much for
Stream
coming, cousins. We've, like when
Yes.
you go to a place, they say, welcome race fans. when
Right.
you go
In
to Indiana for the
2006
Indiana
Game of the
500.
Year awards is what you're saying. We do the 2006 Game of the Year awards again.
Whatever you think I said,
Right.
sure. But you heard what I said, right, Allan?
Yes, I did.
And
I
you
think
get
it was
it,
a very good
James?
idea.
Okay, cool. So, guys, get your cousins. Next show is the cousin show. It's all about the cousins. Have them bring something to share in the chat.
And then if the episode after that, the cousins can get their cousins.
This is exactly what I'm saying.
I get
and
it.
that's when we,
Oh my
that's
God,
when
that's
we
so
bring
smart.
it back to 2022 for the Game of the Year awards.
Okay.
Yeah, I really like this cousin idea. I think it's great.
Thank you, Kat.
Thanks, Kat.
Thank you so much. And Ithaca is gorgeous.
And Ithaca is gorgeous. Thank you for your
Gorgeous.
thoughts and your and I hope if you have been praying on your own, keep doing that until
Talking about praying?
till
Robbie, you
No,
okay,
you-
man?
you
got it.
It's on the tip of my tongue
You got it, buddy.
because
We love you, man.
there's a ring around the city. And
Like a hyperloop or
yeah, no, like a what's it? Oh, what are those tall things called?
Buildings.
Buildings.
The other ones.
Bigger buildings.
Spires.
Mountains?
trees.
Mountains are big. Trees are big. Columns.
And there's a mountain around the city, and you're gotta, and prayer can shake the mountains, and free us.
Amen.
Yeah.
Is this a prayer?
No, that was.
Are we praying?
We're not. No. I'm just. It's more of a thought. Kat, thank you for your call. Let's take another call and get what people are saying about Pandora's Tower or any of the Operation Rain. I'd love to hear more of what people are saying about the last story in
Well,
chat.
we just
Allan.
lost 3 viewers. So
Great.
now we're at 150.
But what if they went because they left because they're on the phone with their cousin?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, they may be calling the cousins.
They're like,
They
oh my
close
God,
their-
you
put
gotta
their
see this
laptop
fucking
down.
guy. He's
Those would be
insane. He
calling
talks
calling
nonstop.
cousins.
You don't even have to listen to it.
Scott?
Back to you, Robbie, and back
This
to
is
you,
Scott.
Alan,
Back to
and
you, Alan,
I
back to you,
guess
Ben, Cricket.
I will
No,
say
this is
I
Scott
will
from
say back to
Pittsburgh.
Ben and
Oh,
back
hey,
to
what's up,
Cricket,
Scott?
From the pit.
We call him Scott. from the
it
pit.
is your old pal, friend of the show, friend of the chat. It is Scott from Pittsburgh.
Scott, what was I trying to say to Kat a second ago about the mountains and the praying and the rings?
To be honest with you, Robbie, I was having a hard time, as you know, and as Alan know, and Ben, maybe you don't know this, and back to you, Cricket, maybe you don't know this, but I'm not very tech savvy.
That's right.
So it is a little hard for me to try and watch the chat, watch the show, participate in the chat, and call the show. So I actually did miss a little, as wonderful as Kat from Ithaca is, because she is dear and special to me.
Well,
I missed what she was saying about the Majestic.
Well, she was rapping for a little while.
I don't know why she was
I did
doing
hear
that.
that.
for
Weird.
about 15 minutes straight, and then
good at- she's quite
Alan
good at
was,
rapping.
and then I thought about, and then I was worried about her.
Yes.
We were all worried about her.
So I told her, I think the prayer, but that was a prayer, that was a freeing prayer and not so much of a trapping prayer, but I think I made it sound like a trap, and for that I regret.
Something about being wrapped around by something tall.
That's what it was, being wrapped around, so she was wrapping
around. She was wrapped around by a loop, some sort of a hyperloop made of trees or mountains.
And-
But we thought he was talking about buildings.
and also
Or back to you, Alan, almost like a big totem.
almost like a big chain, like a chain you whip around and you
Like the
whip
game.
whip it at floors and pipes, and
Like the gameplay in
it
Pandora's
swings you
Tower.
up. Like Pandora's Tower.
The game, yeah, like the gameplay from it.
So, okay, everybody knows that everybody's feeling it. The energy has dropped a little bit, right? Am I right?
Right.
Robbie, the energy's
I think it's
Well,
because
well,
Robbie
back-
brought up prayer as if it's something that you have to do, as opposed to prayer being something that you just experience as energies coming
Interesting.
to you from the universe. Like when I get money,
And back to you,
that's
Cricket.
a prayer.
I agree with that, and I think the only prayer that should
It's okay.
probably be said in on EGI2 is really it started as a prayer. It was more of a poem, but we decided to call it a jom, and it was the words of Joe Botnick, and I believe that's the only type of prayer, if you will, that should be said in EGI too. But back to you, Robbie, and back to you, Allan. I am excited to get through tonight, and this could almost be its own whole segment. And you know, we could be here for hours, so I will try to do cliff notes. But there's so much breaking news from Pittsburgh. So much breaking news from Pittsburgh that it's almost making my head hurt, and I don't know where to start. I would like to say back to you, Cricket, and back to you, Ben. Before I
Thank
start,
you, Scott.
I appreciate that.
That I do appreciate the both of you being here. I think the numbers are juicing with you on here.
Thank you so much for saying that.
I would like to point out that I very much enjoyed, back to you, Ben, I very much enjoyed the massages that you were giving out and the strength of your hands. I don't know if people in the chat happen to notice. You have strong hands, and I just think that should be pointed out and be appreciated by everybody. And Cricket, back to you, Cricket. I very much enjoyed the way that you have this power to sort of like melt. Is it melt or meld?
Wow.
Meld into the couch.
Yes, thank
and
you.
It's almost and if you can imagine this, I'm going to do it now actually, so I can get in full mode. I'm actually melding into my couch the way you were, and I did it with you.
You did?
When you were doing it.
Because
I don't
felt
know
that.
if you felt that connection.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. It's so wild that you said that because I wasn't allowed to talk into my mic at that point in the show because Robbie said I couldn't talk at the beginning.
Right.
But while I was melding into the couch, I said, I feel like somebody is here with me. And so I just think it's really amazing that it was you. And I think like this is
and
the
back
kind
to you, Cricket. That was me, and it was through the power of Ben, through the power back to Ben, the power of Ben, and the vibrations coming through Ben that allowed me to meld with you.
Ben is the most spiritual person I've ever met, and I've met almost everyone.
So true.
And I can tell, and back to you, Cricket. I can tell that about you, and I can tell that about Ben. And back to James. I don't know, since we are going to do breaking news, James, I'm not sure, or Allan, if possibly you got what I emailed in. I made a small modification. Oh, the image isn't working. We're going to figure it out, but I will tell you what it was and what I did, and I hope you don't mind. I hope, back to you, Robbie. I hope you don't mind this, but I made a small modification, and imagine, if you will, when you pull up the Robbie story slide. Well, what I did is I added my face to that slide, and imagine going diagonally through Robbie's stories. It says, and sometimes Scott from Pittsburgh's. So it's really Robbie's and sometimes Scott's from Pittsburgh's stories.
Are you describing a dream you had?
Well, I am. Back to you, Ben. It is amazing that you would ask that because I have been known as Scott the Dreamer on the show.
Okay.
And so it was sort of, and I have several dreams, and it's funny that you would bring up dreams because I have had this reoccurring dream where Robbie and Allan, they come. It's a two-part dream. It's one of two dreams. One dream is where Allan and Robbie they come to Pittsburgh, the city of no rules.
Back to you.
And I believe, back to you, Ben, and back to you, Cricket, that you would probably know that Pittsburgh is the city of no rules.
I know all
and
about
so,
no
so
rules.
they come
Pittsburgh.
here. And they visit, and we have a good time, and then we go visit the Visionary Arts Museum in Baltimore.
That's in Baltimore.
Baltimore, yes.
And so we have a good time. And then the other dream is that one day I visit sunny California, and Robbie and Allan, they say, friend of the show, friend of the chat, Scott from Pittsburgh, you're in California, you should come to the studio. And I imagine I'm a guest, much like yourself. Back to you, Ben. Back to you, Cricket. Much like yourself, but instead I'm not on screen. I'm off screen in studio, but I still call in, so that we still kind of have this warm ambience of the phone call. And if I'm not off screen, then maybe I'm in like a full green suit, and I'm on set, but so that I'm actually part of the set, but I still call in.
Now let me ask.
Which actually,
can I ask you
and
something,
back to you,
Scott?
Cricket. Oh, there he is. It's a beautiful slide, and we do have a Scott from Pittsburgh face reveal.
It is beautiful.
Face reveal.
Now,
Scott, what are you trying to? Are you here right now?
Back to you, Robbie. I may or may not be in studio. The face reveal was enough, and if there is a location reveal, I fear it may be too much doxing for the show.
I don't see him. I don't know.
Scott, is there
This
a
is just a
reason-
joke. This is like a prank call. You're not really here, right?
Well, back to you, Allan. It's, I do like. I may have received. Well, if you keep going back that way, Allan.
I'm so lost.
If you imagine that where the cat came from, which is the perfect segue actually to the real breaking news from
We had a
Pittsburgh,
cat in
and
the
I'm
studio.
sorry.
We had a
I'm
cat,
sorry
a
that we
loose
have. And
cat, and
Allan,
it had tags and like a collar and stuff, but it was in here. And, it was
and Allan, Allan, this back to you, Allan.
Back
This
to you,
breaking
Scott.
news is very, very much for a big part of this breaking news is very much for you. So while you are looking for me, I would very much like you to make sure that you do try to follow the story because I think that this breaking news will make your night.
Okay, but you were just, this is a prank call. You're not here. You don't know where we are,
well,
right?
I mean, Scott was here earlier when I was melding into the couch. I told you I felt Scott's presence.
I
So
saw Scott's face.
I think
You're just
I
you're
think
just
the
talking in
question.
metaphor or rhyme
I
or
just think the
I
question
don't
of whether or
understand.
not
This is-
someone is here is
this
a
a
really
story?
low energy question.
Chat seems to think that. And this
And
is
back to you,
breaking-
Cricket. I agree. I don't. I wish that we could keep the energy high because I was melding into the couch.
Yes.
I am present. Look, I mean, I am on screen.
Please don't prank the show.
And sometimes the stories come from Scott from Pittsburgh. And back to the break. So back to you, Robbie. This story does involve you. You were a main part of this story, and I don't think that you even knew it. But on our last stream, which I believe was last Wednesday, where we did review Shadow Man 2. And back to you, Ben, and back to you, Cricket. If you weren't aware of this, Shadow Man 2 did receive a score 6.4. We all agreed that was a good score. But at the end of the show, there's a thing on Twitch, I guess it's called raiding, and Robbie said we need to raid somebody, and the person that he chose to raid was I believe a friend of his who's called Luke, and he runs the Luke Man show.
Yes.
And so much breaking news. There was minds blown on the Luke Man show. We blew so many minds. Believe it or not, Robbie, I stuck around for the Luke Man show.
Is this real or
And
a
if-
dream?
We got to wrap this up.
If you can believe
did this really happen?
This really happened. This is a real, true to life story. This is not a meta. And Ben, I'll try to wrap it up as much as I can, but sometimes the Scott stories can go on.
Wait, I do just
So
want
we-
to say one thing is, can you put back up the camera that's just me and Ben? Because I feel like we actually look really good. And the other, yeah. Okay. So you can keep talking, Scott. But we're just
And
going to
back
hang
to
on
you-
this for a sec.
Back to you, Cricket. I do agree that you both look good on screen, and I'm seeing that now.
And
I
thank
like
you for
it.
your
So-
story, man, and have a good day. And I love you. And Joe.
Well,
and Joe,
back to you, Ben.
Scott,
So
what's
the
his
way
name?
the story
Scott.
goes
Scott,
is that
I can
we
tell,
did call.
Scott, wait, back to you. I can tell that you are very troubled by your energy, and I can tell that you have things going on in your life that no one maybe has ever dealt with on Earth. Okay, and I can sense that from the timbre of your voice and how you slightly tremble as you speak. So go to my website, book you get a complimentary 5-min session. If that goes over 1 minute, automatic $500 and 1 hour minimum. So book a free session with me, and I swear to God, your T levels will be fucking crazy like you've never seen. Numbers you've never seen before.
I don't want any more logs in the lake.
Back to you, Ben. I will take you up on that because I can feel that tremor.
It's a tremble. Go
in
on,
my voice.
Alan, you
I have a
question?
I have to go potty. May I?
What are you
Well,
asking?
back to you,
I'm
Alan.
asking
You may
Robbie.
miss.
I'm asking Robbie.
You may miss something good.
Scott,
I've been drinking soda. I really have to pee.
I
I'm
just
just gonna go right outside the door, but I'm gonna
Okay,
go.
Alan's gonna go.
Okay, and
Alan's
then
gonna use the bathroom. Scott, what do you?
Thank you.
Let's finish.
I'm gonna leave
let's
my
finish
mic
the
on.
thought here because we do have some fan arts to get the EGI2's It's the Arts section
Scott,
to get to.
can you finish
Well,
the story
well, then
in
we
5
best get to
words?
the breaking news, and back to you, Robbie. We will get to it. So breaking news did go like this, Robbie. You sent us over to the Luke Man show. This is a true story.
Yes,
and I asked the Luke Man, kind of what his show was all about. We had a lot of moments on the show, and believe it or not, friends in the chat. I would like you to know that the Luke Man has let me know that the reason this space feels so familiar to me is because it is the same set where EGI2 is filmed on Monday nights. So it is amazing that I do feel connected to this space. And one thing that I would like to point out to Allan, and I do hope that Allan is okay.
He's peeing.
But we got to talking about the cat that came into the stream a few weeks ago. And I would like to know that I've done a lot of investigating. I found out where the cat came from. I found out who the cat belonged to. And the cat belonged to Luke. The cat did come from the Luke Man.
It's his house.
And I would like you to know that the cat's name is Kirby.
All right. Well, that's funny video game. If it's Kirby, then it's funny video game news. And thank you for your call, Scott from Pittsburgh. But we do have to get to one last segment of the show for this evening. What an amazing turn of events that was.
I want to say right now that he can never call in again.
But that's Scott.
He's one of the only people who calls.
I don't care if he's
Ben,
he's not
Ben,
your
he's
friend.
one of the main
First
callers.
of all, he's not your friend.
But he's a friend of the show.
He's a friend of the show.
He's not your friend.
He's not a real friend. He's a friend of the show.
He has maybe the worst energy I've ever sensed in my life.
But he's like our main.
Yeah,
it's
he's
like
our
Joe
main
and Kat and Scott. That's kind of it.
Oh, okay. Oh,
And
he's
Mia.
like
And Robbie
okay.
calls.
All right, forget it. Joe's cool.
Mia.
I mean Scott's
There's
cool.
Rob.
Whatever. No, fine, guys. You guys do your thing. Whatever you guys want.
But what I want to know is that now we know where the cat came from.
Wait, I missed it. I was
it was
peeing.
Luke's
Could you
cat.
hear me? I had my mic on.
Yeah, everyone. Yes.
Okay, good.
And the fact of the matter is that we have a section of the show which is a community-inspired section of the show called "It's the Arts."
Yay!
And I want everyone to cool it for a second.
And just
'Cause
spam
everyone's acting a
It's
little
the
bit.
Arts in the chat.
Everyone's. I'm trying to keep the lake clean, and everyone keeps dumping their logs in the lake, and I'm sick and tired of seeing all these floaters.
Sorry about that, Robbie. I'll keep the lake clean.
I'm being great. I
just
just want to say that I'm being great.
Cricket's being really great. I just want to apologize, I guess.
Good.
For being maybe Robbie's last real friend, who will tell him things that
I tell
are
Robbie.
true
I tell
and
Robbie.
honest. And I don't care if it's not popular. I don't care if everybody in the chat's mad at me now. This is what it's like to have T levels that are on the moon. You just say whatever you want, and you don't care what other people think. Because that's what I read in a book to do.
I'm honest with Robbie. I tell him things all the time. I tell him how strong he is, how he nourishes me with his ideas and his words, and how the words he talks, it's like a milk that I drink, but I drink it in my ear because that's how I hear it. And then I make milk for him, and so that's me telling him things. So we have a very open and honest relationship. I'm his friend.
Angel, so it's like, if you picture there's 5 or 6 empty cups of milk, and that's the 2002 to 2008 Game of the Year awards. Every time I say Prince of Persia: Sands of the Time, that's 2003, right?
Yep.
That's a little drop of milk in the glass.
Tastes good.
I say
It's sweet, like mommy milk.
Exactly. I say the first Super Mario Galaxy game. That's 2007, 2006 or 2007.
Like that.
Off the top of my head.
Oh, but it's in my
that's
ear.
A little,
I
that's
did
a
it
little
wrong.
drop. So everybody, especially
but
Allan,
it
gets a
nourishes
little
me.
bit of the milk that is all of these games from this 6 to 9 year period. Sometimes it's 6, sometimes it's 9.
Ben.
It's always a multiple of 3.
That's right, Ben. You know how
But
when a baby
gets
piggy
the milk.
drinks from mother.
I know that really
that,
well.
You know
I have
the
tons of videos of that.
The mouth of the piggy That's if you got really like close into my ear, you could imagine it would be like
I'm
a little
sucking in your ear.
a piglet, a baby piglet, mother's
And I'm
milk
sucking
and milky. Yeah, it's
baby milk.
but it
for
sucks
your-
it from
your
Robbie.
ear.
But he says he's saying he puts them in cups, but it's more that it's a direct link from Robbie to.
If
the
I,
piggy-
if
milk
I were to
piggy.
suck the milk, I'm sorry. Let me get this.
Ben, I can see you got your log. You're looking at the lake.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that log go in that lake. There's enough logs in the lake.
We got
As
one
the
more
only one
viewer.
here who actually lactates, I feel like I'm probably the only one who can weigh in on this question. And I think that the only real milk is style. And I think that
I could definitely lactate if I wanted to.
I think that I'm also wanting us to look again at the way it looks when me and Ben are the only ones in the shot, and then look at this, and then put Robbie back in the shot.
I like it better. I
Dude,
like the wine. I like the
it
wine.
just
Actually,
doesn't like.
do we have a
like
single
okay,
on
yeah.
Robbie?
Let's do,
Do we
like
have a
look
single
at
on
this
Robbie
shot.
we could cut
No,
to? I like it when it's just Robbie, and maybe Ben if you lean out. That's
no,
kind of a nice shot.
I don't think.
Well,
No, the other.
I
way.
if
just
I want to
think-
say something about the lower third here, if we could get those glasses somewhere in the lower third for next time, if you could send me like a transparent image PNG of those glasses.
A pinch
Yes.
of the glasses that I'm wearing. Do you want to just take the glasses?
No, because I need.
are like IRL PNGs.
If I could get those
What are you doing?
right there.
Oh,
Can I, Robbie? Can I just?
What are you doing?
Can I? How do I get the lower third to go behind the glasses?
They're spamming milk.
Here, give
They're
me-
doing like milk emojis in the chat.
Oh Lord.
Okay, something
they're
is
not
happening.
Temu glasses, Nogmaster. Nice try, but I do have $10 of Temu credit, so go to hell. Sorry.
Okay,
being,
can we
you know
go
what?
back-
My energy's really.
Can we
bad.
go back to
There
the
you
shot
go.
of me and Ben?
It feels like it's maybe a little.
Okay, looks amazing. Now go to the shot of me and Ben and Robbie. So much better. So much better, right? So I'm just saying, like, if you want to be getting sponsors and you want to be lactating money into the mouths of your friends and family, like, maybe you need to be thinking about things like this, like what things look like, or like what, you know, what it's like what's on the outside that counts. And I feel like you're so cerebral, which is a word for being inside your head. Like you're just always thinking about stuff that happened in the past or that will happen in the future. And you never stop and think, what do I look like? And that's the most important thing that somebody can think about, because when you're thinking, what do I look like? You're fully present. You're saying, what do I look like right now? And that's what people respond to. They respond to the look in your eyes of you looking at them and wondering what you look like. And that means that you're together in that moment. And I just want to say, like, the second that you put this on and thought about what you look like, the show went through the roof. The numbers are juiced.
We've lost
the
two
gems.
followers. We've actually just lost 2 followers, 2 viewers since the fur went on him. And vanity is a
Maybe
sin, I
because they're
believe. I'm
going
gonna
to the
Google
inter-
that.
they rush to the
Vanity
They're going to
website
tell their
buy the-
cousins.
to buy
is
the
a
jacket,
sin?
you know what I mean?
Question mark?
So let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're actually gonna try and see if we can do the list.
In Christian teaching, vanity is an example of pride, one of the 7 deadly sins.
I
So
thought you were
that's
Zoroastrian.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
speaking to Robbie.
James, cut the feed for a second. We got to do the list.
I feel like you're art.
So we've all had a good rest. We're relaxed. We're ready to rock. I do want to say one thing before we get right into the list, and we will be getting to the list in a second. The list is, of course, exclusive Xbox fighting games that are exclusive to Xbox. So if you get those fighting games into your head, then we can get to them on the list. But before I say anything else, I want to say that tonight's It's the Arts we're going to postpone. We're going to put those on EGI2 Stream 10. So we can. Sorry, we had a bit of a long conversation that I felt like we got a lot of stuff out there in the open. I think we understand exactly what's best to goose the numbers, how to get without having to do any dirty stuff or put any logs in the lake. So we're going to be, but we will be doing the It's the Arts segment from this stream. We're going to try to do. We're going to definitely be doing that on Stream 10. So be sure to come back next Monday for that. But let's drive right into the list, which of course is the exclusive Xbox exclusive fighting games, Allan.
Okay.
So it's on the list. So if you're a fighting game enthusiast, if you're an Xbox enthusiast, this is original Xbox fighting games. It's on the list. Starting with, of course, and let's open up the phone lines to get people talking to us about the games on the list.
What is the list?
The list is Xbox exclusive fighting games like Kakudu Chojin, which we talked about at the top of the show, and of course Daofeng Fist of the Lotus, which Daofeng Fist of the Lotus, of course, is one of the John not John Romero, but the other John from the Mortal Kombat games, not the toasty guy, but the other one. And Daofeng Fist of the Lotus and Kakudu Chojang are on the list. Allan.
Oh, okay, great. That's awesome.
Let's open to the caller. Do we have any callers on the air? Caller, you're on the Twitch.tv/EGI_2 Stream 9. It's the list. Exclusive Xbox fighting games, original Xbox. None of the later stuff, just the OG XBOX. What do you think? What's on the list?
How about I am Jack's sense of Fight Club.
Fight Club is on the list. Fight Club, of course, a lot of people saw the movie Fight Club.
Fred Durst, hidden character. Fred Durst.
Fred Durst is a hidden character on the Fight Club.
I'll take my call off the air.
Thank you for taking your call. Thank you for putting Fight Club. A lot of people don't realize that there was a Fight Club fighting game that was made exclusively for the Xbox.
I did know that,
and it is on the list.
Right, yay.
We have a caller on the air right now. Caller, you're on the air with EGI Twitch Stream 9 on the list. Original Xbox Fight Club. Go.
Godzilla Destroy All Monsters.
Godzilla Destroy All Monsters. Is that what? There was another Godzilla game for the PlayStation 2. Do we want to make sure that do we want to double check that that's not the same game that Destroy All Monsters was? Because I'm pretty sure Destroy All Monsters was not PlayStation 2, at least on GameCube.
Damn, sorry, that was on GameCube. Damn.
Oh man, Mortal Kombat Deception.
Mortal Kombat Deception is definitely not on the list because Mortal Kombat. I can tell you right now that Mortal Kombat Deception was also on PlayStation 2, also on GameCube, and I believe also there was a Mortal Kombat Deception. Was it a Deception or was it Deadly Alliance? Deception or Deadly Alliance was on the. It's not on the list, but it could have been. There was a Deadly Alliance or Deception game for the Game Boy Advance that used a kind of a sort of an oddball 2.5D scrolling tech, whatever it's kind of like Mode 7 or what they use for Balls. Remember Balls on the Genesis and Super Nintendo, Allan?
Yeah,
3DO.
Yes, I remember Balls.
Balls with a Z at the end.
Yes, I loved all the Z games. Dogs,
that was and none of those are on the list. But thank you for your call. It's on Dead or Alive 3. Visk in the chat highlighted Dead or Alive 3. It's on the list.
Yay, you did it.
Kabuki Warriors is also on the list. These are fighting games exclusive to the Xbox on the list tonight on EGI 2 Stream 9.
Incredible.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Caller, you're on the air with EGI 2 Stream 9. It's the list. We're talking about Cookie Warrior. We're talking about Xbox exclusive fighting games like the Kakudu Chojin, Daofeng Fist of the Lotus, Kabuki Warriors, and Dead or Alive 3. What's your thoughts on what I just said?
I was thinking about Dead or Alive Ultimate. That's an Xbox exclusive, right?
Dead or Alive Ultimate, I believe, was Dead or Alive. Al, you're the Dead or Alive expert. You've got all these things written down in your little, on your little notepad there. So Dead or Alive Ultimate was, but Dead or Alive 3 Ultimate, right?
Let me see.
Or was it Dead or Alive? It was. So Visk in the chat says Dead or Alive Ultimate is on the list. Is it on the list?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna have to say that tentatively on the list. Next up is someone in the chat said X-Men Next Dimension, which I don't believe is on the list. I do believe that X-Men Next Dimension was also on the PlayStation 2. Sonic Bare Knuckles Fighting is on the list. Is that Sonic Bare Knuckles Fighting? Is Sonic Bare Knuckles Fighting? Sonic Bare Knuckles Fighting. Which one is Bare Knuckles? Sonic Bare Knuckles.
Was that the one?
That's Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball.
That's on the
If
list.
we were doing extreme volleyball, Dead or Alive Extreme Volleyball games that were only on Xbox, then that would definitely be on the list.
So it's on the list?
I think Dead
Did
or
I get
Alive
one?
3 was also on the Xbox.
Caller, what did you say?
Dead or Alive 3 was also on the Xbox.
So there was a Dead or Alive, but Dead or Alive, not the original Dead or Alive, because that was a Sega Saturn, I believe a Sega Saturn and PlayStation only game. So it must have been Dead or Alive 3. Dead or Alive 3, or Give Me Dead or Alive 3, or Give Me Death, I think was the thing that they said at the outset of the release of the Dead or Alive 3 Ultimate for the original Xbox. Thank you for your call. Let's go to your next caller. Caller, you're on the air with Twitch, with EGI2's Xbox exclusive fighting games list. Caller, who are you? Where are you calling from? What's on the list?
Well, back to you, Robbie. Back to you, Allan. It is friend of the show, friend of the chat, Scott from Pittsburgh.
Scott from the pit. Scott from the pit. We've got fighting games galore. What are your fighting games thoughts? What's on the list?
I'm gonna go ahead and say back to you, Robbie. Marvel vs. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. It's on the list.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is unfortunately not on the list, Scott from Pittsburgh, because Marvel vs. Capcom 2 has unfortunately made it to several other consoles since the Xbox, but was also on the Dreamcast, and of course ran on the arcade hardware of the Dreamcast at the outset, which of course was called the Allan. Say it again. Naomi system.
Right. Yes, of course.
So thank you for your call, Scott from Pittsburgh. We got another call.
And back to you, Ben. I do forgive you for the. I think your energy was low, and I think if you get your tea right, that we will see eye to eye. But back to you, Ben, and I love you all. Good night.
Good night, and Scott, we love you. No Rules Pittsburgh is called No Rules Pittsburgh partially because love has no rules, except when love is on the list. If it's exclusive Xbox fighting game on the list. Caller, you're on the air with EGI2's. It's the list. Xbox exclusive fighting games. What are your thoughts?
Hello, this is AB from Texas again.
AB from Texas.
I just wanted to.
What do you got?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure on the rules. You're just speaking about rules. So the game just has to be about fighting, and it has to be on the original Xbox. Is that correct? Just those two rules?
What I would say to you at the outset. Is to give us the title of the game, and together we will discover if it is on the list.
Okay, well, I'm gonna throw out Jet Set Radio because you're going around, you're fighting the police with graffiti.
No.
I believe it needs to be a one.
No.
But at one point, sometimes you bounce on the cop. Do you do any fighting? Is there any actual
game on a
one-on-one?
different console?
I don't think if we don't have wiggly one-on-one fighting, then it's not on the list. I would think a great fighting game, Allan, a great exclusive Xbox exclusive fighting game could be a bunch of wiggly Jet Set Radio kids just beating each other into smithereens, broken bones, the kind of X-ray broken bones stuff that you saw in Daofeng Pistol Lotus, which made it back, of course,
the
to
Arkham games. You could see those bones break.
Exactly, those games did that. Thank you for your call, AB. Do you want another chance at something on the list?
Oof, no, sorry, I didn't play that one very much. It was my older brother's Xbox.
What did you say?
I didn't play the Xbox very much. It was my older brother's Xbox. I couldn't play it as often as he could.
Well, if in the time period that we're doing the list, if you can go find the older brother and Google or Google, and I dropped and I can't take notes. But thank you. Someone, Vague Plague in the chat says Bloody Roar Extreme. Bloody Roar Extreme is on the list. Let's go to the next caller. Caller, you're on the air with EGI2 Stream 9. Who are you? Where are you calling from? What's on the list?
Alex from California. List Loons: The Fight for Fame. There you go.
What did you just say?
Loons: The Fight for Fame. It stars a Looney Tunes. It is a fighting game.
Lose the fight for fame.
Lose the fight for fame.
Lose
it?
Lose the fight for fame.
Loons.
Loons. Like the bird? Loons? Like the bird?
Yeah.
Or like Looney guy? Like Looney Tunes?
Loom, like the point
Loom?
like adventure
Like
game
a
on the PC?
loom. Was it like a loom? Maybe perchance a loom? Loom the
Looms?
fight. Loom
Like
the fight.
like
for
the old
change.
like the drugs that go bad.
Just say it again.
Looms the fight for fame.
Loons the fight for fame. Looney Tunes the fight for fame. They're trying to one up each other. Daffy Duck and
it was like a
and the
Warner
mouse,
Brothers
and the mouse,
kind of, Warner
the
Brothers
mouse
gaming
character
fighting
and the man.
It was like a Smash Brothers clone where they took Looney Tune characters.
I
and
think
they'd
you might
fight
be
on
thinking of
platforms.
Wham.
Or like Power Stone, actually.
Sort of, wait, Wham, Loom? Are you talking about Kung Fu Chaos?
Spell it maybe.
Well, I guess I could bring that up. Yeah, Kung Fu Chaos. That's also.
Okay, Kung Fu Chaos is on the list. So thank you for your call, AB.
Wow.
Wait, which one was it? It wasn't AB. Was it? Who is it?
Who?
Thank you for your call. Crapmaster Zach in the chat says Steel Battalion. It's not on the list, although it is an Xbox exclusive game to this day, except for the Xbox 360 Steel Battalion game, which of course was done with the Xbox Kinect camera system.
Remember that?
Which did not, which was it seemed like it could be a lot of fun. Alan, you could do it. The idea was that you would be able to go and you would just do something like this.
And look where technology has brought us now.
And you would lift the hatch, and then you would put your binoculars on, and then you would look around, and then you would see. Well, I wouldn't know what you would see exactly. I guess you were looking. If you pointed it at the television screen, then you would see. Then the television screen would do the binoculars.
Right.
But you wouldn't actually see any screen. There wouldn't ever be any screens on the insides of your hands.
And it's interesting though, because now that science fiction has become science fact. I don't know if you've been following the news, but there's all sorts of sort of motion controls now. You can everything can kind of see what you do and kind of watch your body and kind of make decisions for you and advertise sort of different products for you based on just the way you move. So it was, interesting idea back in the day, and now it's science fact.
And now it's science fact. And of course, Mike XSE, is that like straight edge, like SE? I don't know what that means. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Melee could be on the list. I do believe I said it was on the GameCube as well, but I could be wrong about that. Chat, if anybody in the chat wants to see if I was on the list, if I was in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Robbie, you're on the list?
I'm not. I'm saying if Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Melee is on the list, I'm pretty sure that it's not, but I'd love to know if anyone in chat wants to double check that for me, because what the next one, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised about this on the list, is Rumble Roses XX.
Really?
Rumble Roses, of course, is the fighting game.
Really?
It's kind of a wrestling game, but it has a lot more fighting game elements to it. Fighting game, Xbox, Rumble Roses, Double X, women wrestlers in a fighting game.
Female wrestlers in a game.
Women can be doctors, but not wrestlers.
Women can be wrestlers. Women can be anything because we have taken the reins of our history back.
CM Punk is the straight edge wrestler.
What?
CM Punk. Oh, you took up my call. Yeah. Hi. I've been on the line for a while.
Well, we're processing a lot of stuff here. So I'm glad that you stuck with us, because I'd like. First off, who are you? Where are you coming from? What's on the list?
I am the mysterious straight edge man.
The mysterious straight edge man?
That's me.
And what's on the list?
Rumble Roses Double X.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. We already put that on the list. So what else is on the list?
The Enter the Matrix. Enter the Matrix, because it has a hidden versus level.
It does have a hidden versus level. He is correct about that.
But does that count?
It doesn't count.
If
it's a secret fighting game within a action adventure game, a third-person shooter with lots of element. With I believe there's a mini game where you fly around in one of those weird what do they call it? Nostradamus? No, Nicodemus. Nicodemus? Caller, does that ring a bell?
You have to do a complicated hacking game to find this secret versus level.
But you find it and you fight in the Matrix and you say what does he say? Does he think that air? You think that's air you're breathing?
The spoon bends you.
Then the spoon, and there is no spoon. And the question
that's from the Matrix. That's really good. That's from the Matrix.
Exactly. That is Nebuchadnezzar. Thank you for dreams lately. Astro Snow, Anti-Snowman in the chat says Spawn and Soul Calibur 2, and this actually brings up a very interesting point about what's on the list and what's not on the list. Is it possible for games that have different versions? So there's a version of Soul Calibur 2 with Spawn. That's on the Xbox. Then there's a version of Soul Calibur 2 with Link that's on the GameCube, and a version of
Is that true?
And a version of Soul Calibur 2 on the PlayStation 2.
Heihachi Mishima.
With a Mishima?
Heihachi Mishima.
Exactly, I think. But so what I'm saying, first of all, what are your thoughts? Is it on the list simply because it has Spawn? Because they also all have the same Todd McFarlane exclusive character made specifically for Soul Calibur 2 during that very troubled period of development, and that was that the Green Man. He's a green man. He's a dimpled man. He's got dimples all over his skin. He's a scaly man, like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, but with a big heart
like
on
Yoda.
his chest. Not like Yoda. Well, if Yoda was
like Iron Man,
like built like an Iron Man and had like a big energy bucket.
But it's Iron Man. You're talking about Iron Man.
I'll take my call off the air, but Fortnite can just be anybody can just be a Fortnite. I'll let you guys go.
Thank you for your call. And what a thoughtful thing. He says anybody can be a Fortnite in the Fortnite.
Oh, interesting.
So in a Fortnite, we can all be one of the people. We can all find ourselves in a battle royale. And we were talking about the difficulty between of how to be the past, present, and the future all at the same time, and it's difficult to be in that place in the future, in the past, and present all at the same time when you're concerned that you might end up in a battle royale like Fortnite.
That's a good point, Robbie.
Caller, what are your thoughts? What's on the list? Xbox exclusive Soul Calibur 2, is it on the list for you?
I think it wins on a technicality, but I have something on the list that is not a technicality. That would be Spike Out Battle Street.
Spike Out. This was a difficulty I had because the Spike Out Battle Street, of course, was originally running on Naomi hardware, which was Dreamcast hardware, and there might have been at one point, if I'm not mistaken, Allan or Cricket or Ben. Cricket, you might be able to think about this for a little while, which is that is Naomi hardware being so close to the Dreamcast hardware, of course. Was there a Japanese version of Spike Out on the Dreamcast, which was then later ported to the Xbox?
No,
well,
absolutely
Spike
not.
Out, the original game, was on the Xbox, but that was also on Naomi. But the sequel, Battle Street, that was just only on the Xbox.
Then it's on the list. Spike Out Battle Street is on the list. Caller, thank you for your call. Do you want to try to go 2 for 2?
You know, that was the first question that anyone's asked me all night, and then I immediately...
I asked you about your feet at least once.
I'm so sorry, Cricket.
You know, it's okay. It's okay. I want you to have it. I want you to have it. You've called in.
Cricket, I do have a question for you directly. Has the Aura business been part of your success up to this point, or how is that?
Yeah, but you know what? Like, I've really evolved, and I don't think of it as a business anymore, because a business is a place where people know that they have to come pay you money for something. And I've really evolved into just getting people to come to me. And then when they don't know that they have to give me money, and then when they leave, that's when I ask them for money. And it's really actually like improved my relationship with my clients, because they come in a much more receptive space. But yes, that Aura photography business is incredibly successful, but it's just not a business anymore. It's just like actually the way that I get money. So thank you so much for asking. And again, that's the first question anyone's asked me all night.
I will reiterate, I did ask her about her feet, but caller, while we have you on the line here, WWE WrestleMania 21, UFC Tap Out 2, and then there was another WWE, I believe it was a Raw title. Do wrestling games count? Because if we open up the list of wrestling games, then aren't we also opening up the list to other games that might have some sort of one-on-one mechanic but aren't necessarily considered to be a fighting game? Rumble Roses Double X, of course, is a game where they fight. The women will punch and hit in a way that is more in line, I believe, to one of these 3D fighting games, and less of a wrestling game.
I think it's the term is beat 'em up games. and I think those like pretty specifically exclude wrestling as a different genre.
So the wrestling genre is not on the list. That also, I believe, would go to the MMA games that are not on the list. You do fight in those games, but we are going to focus on what is it, Alan, that makes a wrestling game and a fighting game? What makes them separate from one another, separate subgenres, of course, within the larger genre of video games?
I think wrestling games are more about the grapple, more about the skin-to-skin touch, and sort of the lotion and that the skin has to make you kind of slip right off of the opponent.
Lotion.
It's sort of about more about grappling, where I think fighting games are more about hitting, and I think some of the games you have weaponry and shoot, and they're just different. I think they're just fundamentally different. You know, it's like one of those things where when you see it, you know. Like, you know it when you see it. When you see someone wrestling, you're saying they're wrestling, and when you see someone like kind of fighting in the street, you know that they're not wrestling. They're in a fight. So
right, sort of like with the thing with
Robbie,
Maplethorpe that we talked about a few weeks ago. Colin,
Yes,
what
exactly.
are your thoughts?
I did want to say one specific thing about Spike Out Battle Street. I thought this might be an ambitious crossover between funny video game news and a list. I don't know if that's happened before.
Well, it hasn't happened before, but it could. Well, that's the wrong slide. It's the other one. The one that says. I can't get to it. Okay. So what do you thought? Def Jam Vendetta is not on the list because Turbo Zorger, because it's also on the PlayStation 2. But Color, let's take a thought. I don't mind. We've done a lot of experimentation. Is the medicine of the you got to try new things.
So let's hear it.
So I want to bring up the original game for Spike Out. We mentioned that was on the Naomi. I think it's very relevant that Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth just came out like a week ago, and in that game is actually the first time that game has been ported. You know, the game from '99, and you can play Spike Out now on a PlayStation 5, where before, you know, your only options were Sega and Xbox. So I really think that's a relevant news to today, and I think it's pretty funny to think that a game that you could call exclusive in the past, it gets opened up in the future, and maybe that's pulling games out of the list that we previously created.
You taking a game off the list?
Are you saying that somebody is in the logic of the funny video game news? Who says it?
I think I don't know enough about the game to make an exact reference. I think we could probably point out.
We clearly, caller, I'm going to interrupt you there. You clearly know plenty about the game. What I want to know from you right now, and if we can get this from you, then maybe we've got something. Which is that who said it? What the newsmaker?
I think the newsmaker would be President Clinton in like the 1995 government shutdown, where you're trying to make it compromise.
So not even former President Clinton. You're saying we're taking the time machine back to 1995.
We're taking it back to 1995. We're taking it to
This is a
a time when the character select screen on Guardian Heroes was the most amazing thing you've ever seen. Okay. And so at that time, there's a government shutdown, right? And you're trying to strike a compromise between Congress and Clinton, and you know, there's a standoff here, and I feel like that standoff is kind of like these things are getting pulled from the list, and we're arguing about, right, like if stuff is or is not on that list.
Oh wait, are you talking? You were talking about Spike Out a second ago.
I'm confused. Is this funny?
That game came out in that game came out in 1999.
Doesn't make any sense.
Well, you got to follow me here. There's multiple things that happen over time. You know, time is cylindrical, right? Like these things happen over and over again.
This is like your story,
and
Robbie.
So I think Allan probably, or maybe Ben knows what I'm talking about. Like it might be a testosterone problem that's happening here.
Ben, do you know what this?
The problem is that you're trying to tell me that Bill Clinton was talking about Spike Out in 1995 when we all just got over the hump talking about how Spike Out came out in 1999.
Doesn't make any sense.
And then hold up a damn minute, because then you're talking about Like a Dragon, which came out this year.
That doesn't make any sense.
And you're trying to tell me, not only you're trying to tell me, does this, first off,
it's a prank call.
The newsmaker.
Are we not all in the same reality that Bill Clinton did, in fact, time travel?
We talked about time travel in a very specific context, which was a morality play about the plague and stuff that went into people's throats that needed to be washed off with soap.
This is a
prank call. This is the list.
Hang on.
I'm going to keep them on the line because I want to be patient with you, but I also want to say one thing,
messing with you,
which is that we patiently waited for you to give us the funny video game news about Spike Out, but then you started talking about Like a Dragon, and then you started talking about Guardian Heroes, which came out in 1990. Doesn't matter when Guardian Heroes came out, which is not on the list because that was
that was 96. It was in fact a year after the time frame.
Listen to me before I'm going to wring you out to dry. I swear to God, I will pull the sun out of the sky tonight. Guardian Heroes isn't even a Sega Saturn exclusive. It was ported to the Xbox Live Arcade, and that just because it was on the Xbox Live Arcade doesn't mean that it's on the list, because we were talking about the original Xbox. So Spike Out, the second Spike Out game is on the list. The first Spike Out game's not on the list. Bill Clinton wasn't president. He wasn't president when the second Spike Out game came on. So how could he possibly have anything to say about it? And he certainly is. If he was going to be in funny video game news, then it would be former President Clinton talking about Like a Dragon.
That's right. Good job, Robbie. You got it.
So all these games have one thing in common. Guardian Heroes originally was an exclusive on the Sega Saturn, and Spike Out was originally exclusive on Naomi. Chrono Trigger in '95 originally with the year of Bill Clinton at the time of this was re-released.
Hush.
These things all have one common theme.
Okay, what's the thread?
They were on the list of exclusive games at that time, and they are no longer on those respective lists for those consoles.
I'm going to tell you something right effing now, kid. Kung Fu Chaos.
This is Nathan Vegetable.
Kakuten Kojin, Dao Fang Fist of the Lotus. They're on the list because they're staying on the list, and they ain't going nowhere. Like a Dragon, somebody's a dragon. Slap a dragon on the rear end. All these Yakuza spin-offs that they're trying to. If they take a step further, and they add Xbox exclusive fighting games like the ones I just listed, then we'll take them on the list. But I will not spend a damn second listening to this horse manure dropping logs in the lake on the list when we've, I think, established some very.
So is it to say that the lists are temporal only to the?
Cut the call.
You're in the box, kid, and you ain't getting. I'm not giving you the key until you learn yourself some manners.
Do not prank this show. If you are thinking of calling in the number that is on screen and pranking EGI2, do not do it, because it is not nice. It is not nice. And if I catch whoever did it and pranked us, I will come out. I will come for you. I will grab you, and I will do justice on you, because I will take the law into my own hands, and I don't even care what any court says. I don't want anyone doing this to Robbie at all. I will.
I don't even like the story I did tonight. How about that?
It was great.
It was going to be good, but then
I did like
got jacked up.
I thought it was quite good.
Cut the feed. Chat, tell James what to raid. Unbelievable.